Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight we have a great guest, Marilynn Hughes. She's the founder of the Out of Body Travel Foundation. Her newest book is Astral Projection Made Easy. She also has Dialogues with the Mystics that came out a couple months ago. I've really been looking forward to this guest. And we talked about recently with a guest a couple shows ago about astral travel and some of my fears with it after the experience I had with the shadow person. So we won't get into that tonight, but really I want to get her tips on learning how to leave the body, astral projection. Have you done it? Do you want to do it? Well, then this is the show for you tonight to listen. And if you have done it or have a question about it, call in later in the show. We will open up the phone lines. And of course, we got a lot of weird tonight in the World Wide Web of Weird to get to. So we want to do that. And again, we'll have the phone lines open after the second commercial break tonight. I want to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and especially my father. I forgot to call. So, Mom, if you're listening, tell Dad I said happy Father's Day. Sorry, I worked today. I missed it. I'm a bad kid. But, it was a good Father's Day, so for having to work, and I'm really happy I get to spend it with all you tonight, all the fans in the chat room of Paranormal Soup. Thank you to everyone who shares the show out there, too. That's big help. Get the word out there about Paranormal Soup, because we're getting great guests like tonight, so I don't want people to miss it. Got to get this information. So let's go ahead and get rolling into the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest, Marilynn Hughes, will join us after the World Wide Web of Weird after our first commercial break. Like I said, I've been really looking forward to this guest since I booked her. I got to hear her on Heather Wade's show a couple weeks ago. I tried to listen a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to spoil it because I'm going to get her on here, but she sounded like a really good guest and talked to her before the show. So it's going to be really interesting. And I want to learn how to astral project. Jamie D, beautiful co-host, you want to learn how to astral project?
I would love to learn.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, if we get in a lockdown again, I think it'll be a necessity.
I think so.
Get out around.
We won't have a choice.
Right? From St. Augustine, Florida himself, Rob Outchard, running the World Wide Web of Weird. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. Wanting to do some astral projection myself.
Right.
Especially nowadays, I would just.
Whole family will astral project down to Florida to take the vacation we didn't get to take.
Hey, yeah.
Come visit you, astral project, and haunt you.
Exactly. Bring some bug spray because the mosquitoes are bad.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in the World Wide Web of Weird. Speaking of that, we do have a lot of weird to get to, so let's go ahead and roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, I thought I'd start off with the first 3 articles. They're kind of some mad scientists, like some scientists up to no good. Mad scientists go wild. I don't know. This first one from mailonline.com. Mini brains grown from human stem cells containing Neanderthal DNA could shed light on how our ancestors' genes have influenced the development of our species. Or it could turn into a mad mini brain Neanderthal thing. I don't know. For those listening on the Paranormal Radio app, we are a webcast. We stream live out to YouTube and Facebook. And for those watching on Facebook, YouTube, we are on the Paranormal Radio app. But for those listening on the radio app, we do have videos and photos and stuff we share. But if you want to just listen, I'll narrate as best as possible. All right. So scientists have grown mini brains. Let me get that up there. There we go. Scientists have grown mini brains from human stem cells containing Neanderthal DNA to help shed light on how it has impacted our development. Researchers from Germany showed how genetic material derived from our distant Neanderthal cousins can be identified and tracked in model organs as they grow. Kind of creepy. Past studies have shown that around 2% of the gene pool of modern humans outside of Africa is composed of Neanderthal DNA. The genetic heritage was acquired as a result of various episodes of interbreeding between our ancestors and Neanderthals tens of thousands of years ago. In their study, geneticist Gary Camp of the Max Planck Institute of Evolutionary Anthropology in Germany and his colleagues analyzed cell lines taken from human-induced pluripotent stem cell initiative, or HIPSI, as it's dubbed. That's a lot easier to say. The international resource was established to provide data and cell lines of genetic studies. Nearly all the latter are derived from the individuals of UK and Northern European descent, meaning that they contain traces of Neanderthal DNA. Some Neanderthal alleles, I don't know what that says, have a relatively high frequency in this population, Dr. Camp explained. Because of that, this induced pluripotent stem cell research contains certain genes that are homogeneous for Neanderthal, whatever. I can't read it all. I wonder about this. We've talked about them growing these little mini brains. And where is there an ethical stop point where they're going to say, okay, we're creating a consciousness, even if it's a little mini brain consciousness that we shouldn't? Or what happens when they make these things? The brain's an incredible thing. Everybody talks about the computers able to process. Well, the brain's processing is crazy what it can, do. What are we going to start making, mini brain computers? I'm just saying, my mad scientist brain kind of goes there. So yeah, we're making little mini Neanderthal brains. That's what scientists are up to. You can read the rest of this article on dailymail.co.uk. That was the website. Let's move on so we don't run out of time.
One of the problems, I don't think there is a line to cross anymore these days. There's
no. I like I said, my nickname in grade school was the mad scientist because, I kind of rooted for the mad scientist when I was a kid. Yeah. I love science fiction, and good, my brain could go a million miles of different places with the mini brain. So, yeah. All right, this one for Florida. Here you go, Rab. 750 million genetically modified mosquitoes to be released in Florida. This from Unexplained Mysteries. The insects, which have been bred by British-based biotechnology company Ozitech, have been designed to help reduce the mosquito population in the state, and in so doing, reduce the risk of spreading deadly diseases such as West Nile virus and St. Louis encephalitis. The key to the experiment lies in having the mosquitoes carry a certain protein, which, when passed down to female offspring, will prove lethal. Only female mosquitoes actually bite, so by selectively reducing their numbers, scientists hope that the spread of disease will be massively reduced. Yeah, it's the women that bite, right? Both the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services have given the green light for scientists to proceed with the release of 750 million genetically modified insects in Florida, the Florida Keys. However, conservation groups argue that the environmental impact of the scheme has not been properly assessed. Yeah, it never is. They just do it, and you find out, well, whoops, sorry. Our bad. Describing the move as a Jurassic Park experiment, that's not how you want to describe your move.
Yeah, no.
That's how the opponents are. That's exactly how you want to describe the move. Okay. Opponents of the scheme now intend to sue the EPA and argue that it could do serious damage to other species in the state. What could possibly go wrong? Asked J.D. Hansen, Policy Director of International Center of Technology Assessment and Center for Food Safety. We don't know because they unlawfully refuse to seriously analyze environmental risk. That's just how they roll. Barry Ray, Executive Director of Florida Keys Environmental Coalition, was also critical. People here in Florida do not consent to genetically engineered mosquitoes or to being human experiments. Yeah. If I was in Florida, how do you consent, Rob?
Call me crazy, but I don't really dig that whole yeah, whatever you're trying to say there.
It's Jumanji. No, we're living Jumanji now. So
Jumanji. Exactly.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Light away. Yeah. Let's genetically modified mosquitoes. Not a good idea. But let's move on to more crazy mad scientist stuff.
Genetically modified Jumanji. Yeah.
We're just going crazy with the genetics, man.
Wow.
This goes from some interesting engineering. Interesting. Scientists grow bigger monkey brains using human genes, replicating evolution. They may have replicated the moment in history where humans and primates were set apart in evolution. It's our larger brains that set us apart from other primates. Back when we evolved from non-human primates, one specific gene came into play, which made our brain bigger while theirs stayed smaller. Now a collaboration between researchers in Germany again, Max Planck Institute. Here we go. Germany, what's going on at Max Planck Institute? We're trying to just create, Jurassic Park, Planet of the Apes, what? And genetics in Japan. So Japan had jumping on this. And the Central Institute of Experimental Animals has used that same gene to grow a monkey brain to be bigger for the first time. The study was published in Science on Thursday. Going back to evolution, the study is not only incredible, it's also enlightening. It could replicate the moment in evolution where humans become separate from other primates, all due to one gene. We had certain hopes what the gene ideally could do and should if it had the function that we postulated it should have. Lead study author Wieland Hunter of Max Planck Institute told Inverse. The very satisfying answer is that the gene did exactly everything you could have hoped for. Yeah. Well, it could do a lot more than you hoped for.
Yeah.
And then we end up with Planet of the Apes.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. Maybe they won't do anything unethical with it, but once the genie's out of the bottle, who's another country that doesn't have ethics about it and has no care? It's like, let's make genetically modified, just dumb enough apes that can just be soldiers or slaves. That's how Planet of the Apes started.
Yep. I don't know. It's like let's work on this virus in the lab. Whoops, it got out. Now we got a pandemic. What could happen? What's the worst that could happen?
Sounded like a good idea at the time, right?
Yeah. You cannot unring those bells.
No.
Yeah. Once the genie's out of the bottle, that's it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell if we have Planet of the Apes scenario. By the way, the world didn't end. I forgot about that one.
It's not quite midnight yet, but yeah,
not yet. So maybe that'll be the big hit of the show when the world ends.
Exactly.
Misery.
We'll all go out with a bang.
Let's move on before the world ends. All right, this one I got on Coast to Coast. This is interesting. This is a ghost cat video. Everybody I don't know let's listen to the show talk to me about the time I saw my cat, translucently and hearing her purr in my bed. So I mean, cats. There's something about them coming back from the dead. Pet cemetery. I don't know. A fantastic video popped up online this week. Appears to show a ghost cat manifesting out of thin air on a couch. The wild piece of footage was reportedly captured last month by way of a pet camera in the home of a woman in Swindon, England. Not sure if this can be explained, she wrote when she posted online, but I caught what looks like my cat, Blackjack, who passed away almost exactly a year ago, materializing on her sofa when I turned the lights on from my phone. Indeed, in the puzzling video, what appears to be a faint outline of a cat seems to form on the woman's couch as her lights begin to illuminate the room. Amazingly, when the area is fully lit, the odd form takes on a density and clearly resembles a feline, complete with a pair of pony ears, according to the woman. This is cool. All right, yeah, go ahead and play it.
This one is pretty trippy.
Yeah, maybe we'll get it up there. Might be hard for people to see. Can you see if you can do that expanding thing you were doing?
Yeah, I was trying that. And of course,
I know.
Doesn't want to.
Now it doesn't want to work. There we go. You're getting it. You see it. It's like right on the couch there. It's like a little dark form. Yeah, he's circling it there. And when the lights come on, it looks like a cat. But before the lights, it looks like it's translucent. Yeah. She doesn't see it. See it? It's like there. It's like translucent. And then when she flips on that light, you totally see it. So you can watch the video at Hidden Underbelly 2.0. So I think that's the name of the site. Yeah. Show a lot of videos from. It's a good website or good YouTube channel.
Right there, it fully looks like a cat.
Yeah, it looks like a total cat. I see a cat.
I see a cat.
Look, and it's totally translucent before she turns the light on.
Yeah, that's true.
It looks like a wet spot or something.
mean, it could be something else. This is what the article says. In attempting to decipher what the government had filmed, she explained that even though I am a believer of the paranormal, I always want to debunk before I blindly believe, but concede that I still don't know what I'm seeing in the video. Response to the footage have been largely split between those who think it's a feature of the ghost cat blackjack, or skeptical viewers arguing that the phantom feline is a video artifact or a shadow, which is possible, but it's interesting.
Yeah, if it was just randomly placed shadow, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Be interested to know if that's like where a cat always chilled, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know, or like where it passed, you know, if that's the spot where it used to always sit.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it looks like a cat. All right, we'll move on. We got more weird stuff. All right, so this one I'm gonna call shenanigans on next, just to pre-warn you. It's been going around, and it's from a guy who has like 3 videos on his YouTube channel, but everybody's talking about this recent video he posted a few months ago. Now, the first video is the most recent one. I'm going to play it for you. And there's 2 other videos, but I'm only going to play the other one because the other one I can totally debunk. This one, I think, could be a digicabra. Our resident a-hole, Todd Reinhardt's copyright there. Sorry, Todd. But a digicabra, I don't know. I don't know if this is real. The sound effects sound like they were taken from Predator or Stranger Things. This creature looks like it's a snorkel monster or something out of Stranger Things. But purely clip, which originally uploaded on March 11th by YouTube user Leviathan, has recently gained exposures after being picked up by another more popular channel. It shows a person walking through the woods at night with nothing but a basic flashlight to illuminate the trees ahead. As he proceeds through the forest, a number of chilly, mournful cries can be heard coming from nearby, with the encounter accumulating in the appearance of some sort of creature that is barely visible up ahead. Now, I zoom in on it so you can get a better look at it. And it's illuminated by a light torch or his video. The video is titled, "I Heard This Creature Again." It appears to be the third in a series of clips posted over the last 2 years. He did one 2 years ago of just like a sidewalk in the middle of the night, and you hear a bunch of dogs barking. That's it. I don't know what that was about. And then he did another one, and we'll show that one after this. But go ahead and play this one. Sounds like cats having sex, but I don't know. That sounds like some Predator stuff. All right, here's the creature. You can barely see it. I'll zoom in a second. Nice, slow it down. I mean, you heard those noises. Would you just go walking into the woods? What's he doing out there?
Yeah,
it's probably his YouTube videos. Okay, here's the snorkel monster, Digicabra.
Snorkelarphagus. It's a pelican or a loon or
Digicabra. Like in there. I don't know.
Snuffleupagus.
I don't know. It's weird looking. It looks like something out of Stranger Things. All right. So then the next video, and it's in this same video, Rob. You don't have to go to a different video. It'll come up to it. Is this one. Go ahead and play this. It's that chef sound coming up. All right. So this is the video he posted like 5 months ago. And this one, definite shenanigans. I can put, you'll see it when I slow it down and zoom in. All right, so you notice how he looked up at the top of that thing inside there to the left. He looked there again. Here's the noises. Right. Okay, well let's slow this down. Let's slow this down and take a look at this. Oh, it's Tom from MySpace. I swear to God, the guy looks like he's Tom from MySpace. Play that.
Yeah.
It's a person. It's a person. That's why the other video is more popular, because he did some more better CG work than his first video. Yeah, good. Look. It totally looks like if you cut you did like the top of his head, the way it looks like that photo of Tom from MySpace.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I picture, but it's totally a person in the background there.
Yeah.
So I call shenanigans on this. I just don't know why people do it. I don't. He put 3 videos up on his YouTube. He's got like 960 subscribers. I was like, well, you know, at least put some more effort into it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on, though. We're going to run out of time real quick here. So let's go on. All right. So this next one I thought was really interesting. This is a former footballer, soccer here for us in America, was once abducted by aliens. Former Argentinian player Guillermo Marino once had a remarkable explanation for being late for training. According to the Universidad de Chile teammate Gustav Lorenzetti Marino had arrived late one morning around 8 years ago with a rather unbelievable tale to tell. He says that he arrived late to one training because he was abducted by aliens, said Lorenzetti. He gave us an entire explanation of what he felt and the rest of it. He started to explain that he was suddenly lost and abducted by aliens. He explained that they take out your soul. This is why I'm reading this one. I thought this was really interesting. They take out your soul, analyze it, and all the while on the journey, they are looking after you. According to Lorenzetti, Marino was able to put his story across so convincingly that he was left in little doubt that his friend was telling the truth about what happened to him. Honestly, I believe in aliens. He gave a great explanation. We have to believe him, he said. I believed in him because he tells you that way, and if you know him, you realize that he's a serious person. He will not be late anywhere. He's very correct. I mean, yeah, running late to work or your soccer game. I was abducted by aliens. Sorry, guys, I'm late. He explains to you he's a big believer. He reads his books about it, so I didn't have other option but to believe him because with seriousness that he told us, we had to believe him. So I thought it was interesting that the one part where he says that, let me go back to that. He's saying suddenly lost and abducted by aliens. He explained that they take out your soul and analyze it while on the journey. We're going to be talking about out-of-body experiences. And I had my shadow person experience where it would take me out of my body. It would rip me out of my body and show me things. So, and I always felt there's some connection to aliens to the shadow person experience. So when I read this article, I'm like, ooh, this is really interesting. Inquiring minds want to know more. We're going to run out of time because I want to get to this last one. Now, love them or hate them. I don't do politics on the show because I hate all politics. I hate both parties. So there you go. Get that out of there. There's nothing to do. I don't care where you stand. If you love them or hate them, voting for them or not, don't care. It is always interesting when a president comments on aliens. And this one, and really hard to find on Google or YouTube, I don't know why they have to take this clip down. It's Donald Trump being interviewed by Don Jr. here. Trump says he's heard interesting things about Roswell. I'm not going to read this article. We're going to talk about it. Go ahead and play this video and pay it. I wish I could get a longer clip of this. I couldn't because what happens at the very end, I want to know more like what's going on there at the end because he looks. Just go ahead and play the video.
Or open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on there.
So many people ask me that question.
I know it sounds almost ridiculous, but it's actually the real question.
It sounds like a cute question, but it's actually, there are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to see it. I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
So you're saying you may declassify? Oh. You'll take it?
Well, I'll have to think about that.
Look, I'll have to think about that when he looks at somebody. Who's he looking at? I want to know who the hell he's looking at.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Is it like his chief of staff or some NSA, military, CIA guy going, no, Mr. President?
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah.
I want to know who he's looking at. You know what I find hilarious about this is like the Roswell. Are they really going to be? Are they saying meant to say Area 50? I mean, Roswell, yes, happened. Are you going to release what happened in 1947 Roswell crash? I've always had my serious doubts of what they actually tell presidents. I doubt they tell them very much. I'm going to make sure we can bring her. Guest is just joining us here. We're going to bring her on after commercial. Hi, Marilynn. Just talking about the president talking about Roswell. Well, you know, what is there to reveal? The government's lied about it, changed the story a few times. What have they told Donald Trump? I don't know. I think Clinton did it last in 2016. Carter did it. Other presidents have done it, made mention of like, oh, I might reveal it. What I find interesting is I've watched any president makes comments. I always watch it. I watched his comments with a couple different people, George Stephanopoulos, whatever, when he interviewed him and asked Trump about aliens. He kind of foo-pawed it, and I think somebody else, and he kind of like, I don't take much stock in it, but there's some people, it seems like there's something there, he kind of blew it off. But when Don Jr. asked him, he's a little more open. He doesn't want to lie to his son. So I don't know, but I seriously doubt they've told him anything like that. I don't think they've told Obama. I don't think they told the Clintons very much.
I think that they tell them like on a need to know, like, so if they hear things, they have to know a certain level of something, but that's it.
Yeah, like there's a preparation. Maybe it's like when they join, besides, okay, here's the nuclear football. Here's when the aliens evade planned scenario, just so it might happen. So, okay, let's move on. I don't think they're giving them a lot of information. I think that's why Bill Clinton, when he was office, was using, people within his administration to try to find out more information on it because they didn't want to be cut out of it. There's a classic story of Jimmy Carter when he was president going to George Walker Bush, George Herbert Bush when he was CIA director, asking about aliens and basically being told, you don't need to know. I don't care that you're the president.
Yeah.
You know, and then he becomes president. You know, I don't think they tell him. I think the last president that knew anything about aliens was George Bush, not W.H. What's your opinion, Marilyn, before the commercial break? Do you think they tell presidents anything about aliens?
I think they probably do.
Oh, you're muted.
Am I?
Oh, there you go. Now you're talking. You're good.
I said I think they probably do. But I do think they keep certain things from them. But there is a lot, you know, I mean, you're opening up a huge can of worms, which goes all the way back to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So, you know, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with all that. You might be, you know, with the fact that he may have been assassinated over this information. So I think they do. I think they probably do. They probably tell them on an as you need to know basis, sort of. But I think they know some of it. Probably not as much as they like to know, because I think we do have deeper levels of secrecy that they are able somehow to keep from being revealed on that level until it becomes of necessity. But that's my guess. You know, I'm not the expert on that, but yes, I'm very interested in that stuff as well. So I've done a lot of research in that area, and I've had a lot of contacts. You know, I worked with the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Experiences, and, you know, had some great conversations with a lot of the members there. And, you know, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, Grant Cameron, who worked in, you know, a lot of these things. So my guess is that there's a lot that is absolutely probably shared. But for whatever reason, they're keeping it secret. What?
Yeah, I think whatever they shared with Kennedy, they have not shared with any president since. Because
maybe not, but yeah, maybe not. But at the same time, I think it's possible they've shared more. You know, Ronald Reagan was pretty open about the fact that he knew. You know, he was very open. So we know that he was very clear that he knew stuff. Other presidents have been more, you know, careful.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to go to commercial break, and we're going to get back to our guest here, Marilynn Hughes. We're going to talk about out-of-body travel, which is like, you know, we haven't really done a show totally focused on that. So I'm excited. We're going to talk about it. I want to learn. I want to learn how to do it. You know, I've had my experiences, but I don't know how to do it. So you're working with a beginner here pretty much. All right,
that's
guys.
Okay.
Yep. That's what we need. Easy steps. We've got our book, Out-of-Body Travel. What was it? Oh, I lost it. Astral Projection Made Easy is one of our books. We're going to talk about that, and we'll open up the phone lines after the second commercial break. All right, guys. We'll be right back after the short commercial break.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do voices from beyond the cold case files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Bring life to the dead. 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 Enter the occult world of necromancy. You were brought here for one purpose. Necromancy.
A ceremony dating back to the pre-Christian era. It's the art of reviving the dead. It requires involvement with evil spirits by the person performing the act.
The devil god brings life to the dead.
No, please. No, please, no.
And death to the living. Necromancy. Starring Orson Welles and Pamela Franklin. From Cinerama releasing. In color, rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
The international chart-topping Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest, the true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
He is conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
The night is alive. Join us and take a walk on the weird side when you tune in to The Kingdom of Nye, hosted by Heather Wade, the finest in late night talk. Listen live free weeknights starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time at thekingdomofnye.com, talkstreamlive.com, and the Paranormal Radio app. Wanna take a ride?
Do you like rock and roll? Do you enjoy a good story? Wish You Were Here, A Rock Fantasy, is a book inspired by Badfinger. It will not only entertain you, but intrigue you. What is it about? Well, Thomas is searching for his bandmate and friend in heaven, and in spirit has helped pen this story. He meets an old friend and famous new ones on his afterlife voyage. Midwest Book Review said, Wish You Were Here, A Rock Fantasy, is a book inspired by Badfinger. It's a quirky story by Joyce S. Isaacson and is unique, original, and deftly crafted metaphysical novel that showcases the author's genuine flair for character and narrative-driven entertainment that is simply riveting from first page to last. Wish You Were Here, A Rock Fantasy is now available on pennantpublication.com, Amazon.com in paperback and hardcover, and also on Kindle Unlimited. So check it out now. Wish You Were Here, A Rock Fantasy.
Switch to DCS ranging.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Marilynn Hughes. Marilynn Hughes founded the Out-of-Body Travel Foundation in 2003 with a mission to reduce spiritual and physical hunger worldwide. Marilynn has written over 101 books, 40 magazines, and 18 CDs, all of out-of-body travel, comparative religious mysticism. These books, along with accompanying music and art, are all available for free to download on her website, outofbodytravel.org. Marilynn has experienced, researched, written, and taught about out-of-body travel and mysticism since 1987 and has appeared on innumerable radio and television programs to discuss her thousands of out-of-body experiences. Marilynn Hughes is author of the first and only English-language encyclopedia of ancient sacred texts, The Voice of the Prophets, Wisdoms of the Ages. She was featured in the documentary film The Road to Armageddon, a spiritual documentary which has been viewed by well over 500,000 people. She's been included in the Encyclopedia of Unseen World by Constance Heidari, and Extra-Planetary Experiences, Alien Human Contact and the Expansion of Consciousness by Dr. Thomas Streicher. Marilynn has been the subject of several out-of-body travel research studies. Casey Armstrong, former producer of The Howard Stern Show, named Marilynn as one of the 13 simple, amazing women he featured in his May 2020 book. She spent 2 years of the original board of the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research in Extraterrestrial Experiences. Marilynn Hughes and Dr. Rudy Schild, professor at Emeritus Astrophysics Harvard, co-authored a chapter of Science and Mortal Law, which included a volume 3 of The Change. Marilynn has joined James Van Praagh and his research team at the Afterlife Uncovered. Again, her website is outofbodytravel.org. Out of body. I've had a number of out-of-body experiences. Mine weren't pleasant, but I'd love to learn how to do it. I talked a couple weeks ago about how I've tried, and it kind of brought back memories of something that happened to me. So I've been a little timid of it, but I really want to explore it. The consciousness and the mind, to me, is the undiscovered country. It's the most interesting subject in the field of paranormal. What our minds are. What is conscious? What is the spirit? What is the soul? Where does it go? I think that all can be explored through astral travel or out-of-body projection. That's what we're going to talk about tonight, and we will open up the phone lines after the second commercial break so you can ask your questions or tell us about your experience. But let's go ahead and get to our guest. Thank you for joining us tonight, Marilynn. It's a real pleasure to have you on the show. And
thank you. It's great to be here.
Sorry for butchering your bio there, but you have a lot to your bio. But I'd really like to know, what got you involved in this? Why, what made you a believer in out-of-body experiences or want to try to have one, or what brought you into mysticism and all of this?
Well, ironically, it started when I was very young. When I was about 9 years old, I had a really profound experience where the heavens opened. Experienced my real first out-of-body experience. Didn't know what that was at the time, what to call it or anything. But the clouds opened, marble staircase up to the heavens. There was angels lining the staircase on each side. And I was walking forward, and I saw who I perceived to be God the Father and Jesus Christ standing next to him. And there was a long conversation and a series of events that they showed me, indicating to me that this was something that I was going to do later in my life, that this gift would come back, and then I would have some type of purpose that would be revealed to me later. And I was shown other things about the difficulties that I might deal with along the way, and certain obstacles I would have to overcome. And then at the age of 22, I spontaneously began to have out-of-body experiences, and I started journaling them, and then quickly realized that it was much more than just like a random event. It was becoming literally epic adventure.
But when it first started for you, it wasn't like you were trying to out-of-body, or astral project. It just happened.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't something that I had intended. I didn't seek it out. But then after it happened, I definitely wanted to recreate the experiences, because it was very powerful, and obviously I knew it was very meaningful and important. But I'd only touched the tip of the iceberg at that point, and that was like 34 some years ago. So it's been a long time. And I've now had this span of time and thousands of experiences. And you see this, literally this tapestry of what really there is to explore in these mystical worlds, the out-of-body travel worlds, the multidimensional realms, and the importance that it serves for every one of us individually as a soul in order to achieve and accomplish what we are actually sent here to do, the reason for our incarnation here. And so there's a great deal more to it than most people realize.
Well, that's the thing. To me, what I said at the beginning of the show is the thing that we have a lot to discover in the world and in the ocean. But I feel like we've barely even scratched the surface of what our consciousness is.
Exactly.
And these experiences. I've had experiences since I was a kid. I saw somebody comment in here about chicken pox. About having an out-of-body experience. I had chicken pox and had really weird dreams, like they were out of my body too. So I find that funny. I've had little experiences all through my life of what I felt like was out of my body. But that's all. The worst, though. And this is the unprofessional Jason Bland radio host thing here. I always have to share my personal experiences and interject. Sorry, but okay. I can't help but ask. I'm a little selfish. I had what screwed me up with out-of-body experiences when I was 17, 18. I had the shadow person experience. It tormented me for like 4 or 5 months. And the main way it tormented me, besides messing with me and seeing it full body in front of me and stuff when I'm wide awake, was when I would try to go to sleep, this thing would come to me at night and it'd feel like it ripped me out of my body, and it would show me things. Things I was able to prove later were real things I saw, like my girlfriend cheating on me.
Okay.
So it was a terrifying experience that ended with me basically just praying to God. And I'm a Gnostic, I question everything, but I do believe in God because of this, saying, God, help me, please, God. And this is when this was levitating me off my bed, because I'd finally had it. I'm fighting whatever, all internal mechanisms of me were trying to fight this thing from rip me out of my body again. And it levitated me up off my bed, trying to rip my soul out is what I think was going on. And literally my physical body was levitated and thrown down. And at that moment I was praying to God and it was gone. Something saved me. There's a lot longer story to that than all that. I'm
I'm sure there is. Yeah. Well, it sounds like
after that. And my brain always goes back to those experiences. Sorry, that's what I was getting to the point.
No worries.
That scarred me with out of body.
So what other types of things did it show you that were true later?
Well, like I said, show me my girlfriend cheating on me. It showed my bandmates basically getting ready to kick me out of the band, which did happen. Like, it showed me all what people were saying behind my back, basically doing me. And I confirmed especially with my girlfriend, cheating on me. I actually talked to her and she said, this is what I saw and this is where it was at. And she goes, that really did happen. that you saw it. And I'm like, great. So that was later when she told me this,
Okay. Yeah. What it sounds like there is you have a borderline kind of experience, because that is actually, and that's why that is actually kind of like a violation of eternal law, which is something I write about extensively in The Mysteries of the Redemption, a treatise on out-of-body travel and mysticism. For anybody who's interested in this, they can go to outofbodytravel.org. They can download those books for free under out-of-body travel books. So anything that I talk about, you can go read this stuff. But, we talk about eternal law in the third book of that series called Medicine Woman Within a Dream. And then, of course, that expands over many other episodes. But what you have there is a violation of eternal law. It was probably a spirit that was either a wandering spirit, a trickster spirit, a lost soul, and it might have even been a dark soul.
It didn't feel like it was human. And it relates. And there's so much more to the story. I even put the stories in a book by Mike Ricksecker. I always forget the title of it. Rob should remind me, but I put my story down for him, about 50 pages for him. And there's more to it later on, I discovered, because of its connection to an maybe possible alien abduction experience I had.
Okay.
It's one of those things. It took me years before I could talk to people about it. It took me a lot longer before I could write it down and tell it, because none of it makes sense. And there's synchronicities that don't make sense. It's such a weird experience. And this thing did not feel human, but its main point of torturing me, it was showing me things. It would come to me at night to take me for a ride, and it laughed, this evil laugh, when it would do it.
Well, so
weird.
what you're talking about is when you say it didn't feel human, are you saying it felt alien? Or are you saying it felt demonic?
See, I
or
hate
either. You
demonic.
don't know.
It didn't feel like it was the human spirit. It didn't feel like it. This thing was never human at any point. I don't feel like.
Okay. All right. Because you could be dealing with either, because in terms of the alien abduction experience, some of these alien experiences are done in violation of what would be considered eternal law. And so they would be extremely disconcerting, and they would be against your will, and that would not be a good thing. And so of course this would make you very uncomfortable. When you experience like a regular out-of-body experience, you're going to be wanting to pursue that through the channels that do lead back to God and his servants, who protect you from things like this more. But the reality is, and a lot of people are uncomfortable with this subject, but the reality is there is a light and a dark side. Just like we have here, it exists in the spirit world as well. And, my books talk a lot about the spiritual warfare, how to deal with ghosts and lost souls, how to deal with the demonic, how to deal with aliens, because there are different types of alien races, some of whom are very highly evolved, where it is really awesome to interact with them. And then there are those that might be what you experienced, where they are of a lower type order, where they are not good,
They don't care about Noah law.
They don't. And they're kind of, ironically, a lot of the ones like this are mortal beings, like we are. We are mortal beings. And so what does that mean? That means we are in the third and the fourth realm, the third and the fourth dimension, which is where the battles between good and evil reign. Below us are where the dark spirits, the demonic, the evil spirits, the different levels of the evolution of souls. Above us are the higher levels of light and different levels of consciousness. And so a lot of these alien types that are not great, that are bad, are actually like us, which means that they have the propensity for both good and evil within them. So they're very similar to us. Yes. Yeah. And so we have
aliens.
Yes. And because they have some capacities psychically and technologically that are greater than ours, they become more of a threat to us in those ways, like they were to you. Now, one of the things that can happen here as well with what happened, if it was not an alien, or if it was a different type of spirit, let's say it was some type of trickster spirit. These also can be spirits that never were human as well. There's all kinds of orders of being. They would maybe do this because they would be trying to show you, hey, I can show you future events or things that are happening.
Future stuff too. Yes.
Yes. And then they would eventually start taking you down some type of deceptive or misleading path. And so that's what they would start with, is let me show you that I can give you some psychic insights into something, but then I'm going to start twisting some truth for you, and I'm going to take you down a road that might not be the best road for you.
That's what I felt this was doing. I felt it was feeding off the fear and pain and anxiety. But in a way, I felt that it was trying to manipulate me. It wanted me to do something.
And whenever you feel that, and I'm getting very, very slammed with energy, whenever you feel that presence of that type of manipulation, that fear, that sense of evil, you have to trust that, because you can feel it. When you are in the out-of-body travel state, you can feel the presence of evil and the presence of great good. And when you feel it, you have to trust that gut feeling. And you did exactly the right thing to do by praying to God to protect you from it. And he closed that door, which is what you needed at that time. Absolutely is what you needed. Because somehow this entity, being whatever it was, had gained some kind of access to you. And it in some cases, because of what?
I provoked it. That's how me and two other friends went out at this spot on these railroad tracks where we didn't know a bunch of people had died. Because we had a year before, when I was 17 at a party, we'd both seen the shadow being, and then we started having dreams about it. So me and went out there, and I started just, like, come and get me, show me yourself, why are you calling me out here? And that's when it all started. I brought it upon myself. I learned my lesson.
Okay, and that's excellent that you identified that, because that is exactly how some of these types of things will occur. Other ways is like people might have attended a seance, played around with a Ouija board. They might have gone to some kind of a cult thing where they were calling up some type of demonic forces, anything like this. And of course, anyone who may actually have, a history of negative alien contact. This can also happen to them as well. And there are also, just as there are orders of the angelic hierarchy, there are orders of the demonic, and there are orders in between, so we have, you call them the shadow beings. These might be souls that are kind of wandering around in the middle. You felt kind of seems like more of a darker intent. So this might have been further down, and so it's really good that you did what you had to do to cut that off. Because especially when you invite it in, you're kind of giving them some you're giving them some permission, and you want to revoke that permission immediately. You know what I mean?
Because that was the first time I'd ever in my life really turned to God. I felt was that moment. And I think that was my lesson, but I don't think I have that problem anymore. I don't think this thing's following me or doing anything, but the couple times I've tried to, when I was a little kid, I tried to, I remember you remember those books you'd have, like the kind of like unexplained mystery books, or whatever. I remember there's a alien one on the front. There was an out of body one. There was one of the book, not me and my cousin. We were like both trying to do that. like we were like 10 or 11 years old, trying to lay there and try to have an out of body experience. Like, you feel anything? But I've always wanted to do it, and that kind of ruined it for me. But I have tried again. So this is what I want to get to tonight: is your easy steps in a way to get to be able to do this in a controlled way, a safe way for people to experience it. I believe it's a real thing from my experience, so I would like to try to do it again.
Well, it's absolutely possible to do it in a safe way. And ironically, Astral Projection Made Easy is a very small book. You can carry it around with you, and it has meditations and affirmations that help you to focus in on the things that you need to do on a daily basis to get yourself in the right space, the right frame of mind, but also certain steps you need to take to move towards it. I also have, I've written 101 plus books, so I have a bunch of other books you can start with. I always tell people, start with Come to Wisdom's Door and The Mysteries of the Redemption, which gets most people really good and going and started, and it's going to help people to understand how we do these things within the context and the protection of God and the angelic hierarchy, and that we not only can do that in this context, we want to, because the purpose of the out-of-body experience is to bring our soul into a space where we can become capable of receiving instruction that guides us forward on our spiritual path in this life. The things that we actually incarnated here to do. And out-of-body travel is a very direct mode of learning. We can really accelerate our path that way. Part of the reason being because there is this vibrational aspect to out-of-body travel. I always try to tell people that knowledge is not information, it is vibration. The first thing you'll learn. What? I'm sorry.
Everything's energy, even knowledge. It's
Yes.
all transmutable energy.
Yes. Yes. And when you're going towards having an out-of-body experience, you go into what's called the vibrational state. But then you also will, as you progress, you start having vibrational raisings. And the purpose of these is because you are having those raised up because certain things become known to us only energetically. So our vibrations have to be raised higher in order to actually attain to that knowledge, but also attain to higher and higher realm travel. Because we don't want to waste our time just staying in only the astral realm, which is that fourth realm surrounding the physical. We want to travel into all of the multidimensional out-of-body travel worlds, which contain so much more knowledge and which will teach us and guide us forward.
Well, somebody actually had this, let me get this. Miss Irritated had this comment I thought was kind of interesting. My nephew has had bad sleep paralysis. Can he use something to turn it into something better? I've always wondered, because when this started with the shadow person, it would always start with sleep paralysis and that. And I've had other people have told me about having out-of-body experiences where at first it started out like that. They couldn't move, and then next thing you know, they're out of their body. So somebody has sleep paralysis. Is that a sign that they might be spontaneously about to have an out-of-body experience?
Well, sleep paralysis can occur with out-of-body travel, right. But sleep, and it also occurs like even during certain types of vibrational states. But you can also have certain types of sleep paralysis during certain types of spiritual warfare. And so a lot of discernment would probably be necessary to really find out what's happening to her nephew as to whether or not he's having some deeper consciousness experiences, or if he is under any kind of anything else that we would want to identify and not miss in this. But absolutely, the way to deal with that for sure would be to start having him, a lot of people are hesitant to do the simplest things that do work, which is prayer, is teach your nephew some prayers. And, the funny thing is, in the out-of-body travel state, you'll find that it is some of the most, the simplest and the traditional Catholic prayers. The Our Father that the Lord taught us, the Hail Mary, the Apostles' Creed. These things are very powerful to help somebody to transform a sleep paralysis state into moving it into an energetic force that will take it into a higher travel mechanism. So prayer, but also, communication, conversation with God. So I don't know how old her nephew is, but you can talk to him about, when this is happening, communicate in your mind with the Lord. Talk to him like you would a friend and say, asking for guidance, for assistance, for help. But you want to remember that anytime you have any question as to the source of that, do the Lord's Prayer. You can really do the first stanza over and over and over again. It is in the mystical states. It is an exorcism prayer. It's so powerful. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That part, just repeat it over and over again. If he's a very young child, another very powerful line that I learned in my travels in the lower hell realms was Christ crucified. You just repeat these things because what they do, Christ crucified, if you repeat it over and over and over again, And if you are under any kind of demonic attack, it actually makes demons, it makes them bleed acid. They can't handle that. It's hard
like
for
a
people.
xenomorph from Alien. Like they're bleeding acid.
What?
They're like a xenomorph from Alien. They like bleeding acid.
I guess so.
Sure.
I guess so. I didn't know xenomorph aliens did that, but yes, and they also, they cannot handle that. So if there is any dark element, then these kinds of prayers will protect him. And then if he is just going into this sleep paralysis state and he's in a deep consciousness state, then it's going to help him to drive that vibration into possibly going into an out-of-body travel experience.
She said he's 32. So
32, so he can handle this for sure.
As a child, that's a lot. As a father, I've had some weird stuff with my kids. It's hard to you wonder what you can teach them when it comes to this stuff.
He definitely might benefit from taking a look at the books then. Come to Wisdom's Door and Mysteries of the Redemption would help him to identify a lot of things and give that a try and to take it further for sure.
All right. So like I said, I want to get back into out of body. So what is the first step? What is the first step that I would take to prepare myself to do this?
Well, you're going to take a lot of steps, but the big three, and this is prayer, meditation, and solitude. So you want to create environments where you're going to have a lot of prayer, meditation, and solitude. I tell people you need to think about having meditation where you're lying flat, and you need to think about meditating for up to 3 hours at a time, not short bits, because the consciousness required to go into the vibrational state is very deep. And so you're going to practice for 3 hours at a time because you're going to allow that to happen. You cannot let that, you need to have more time for that. The other part of it that's really important for people to get is to understand the purpose. And the purpose of this is the purification of the soul. This is a spiritual tool. This is a mode of unification with God. So this is not something to be regarded with, as a paranormal thing to play around with. You have to understand why you're doing it. If it's just for kicks and giggles, you're really going to waste your time. And, a lot of people who don't understand this actually will find themselves, okay, neat, I got out of my body and I'm floating around the room and I'm floating around the earth and I want to go see the pyramids and I want to do this and that. But they forget that, and they don't see that they're missing out on the real meat of the matter, which is there are infinite realms of deep substance and meaning. And these types of, you don't want to limit yourself to staying in this place. You want to be allowing the travel to expand and go higher and higher and higher. So, Astral Projection Made Easy actually lays out a lot of these steps. You can download that for free too, one by one. But you're going to need to create a situation where you want to have more solitude in your life. A lot of people have a lot of noise. The noise is a problem. It's a distraction. It makes it difficult to make this happen for people.
Well, Marilynn, when you were talking about you have 3 hours, you need solitude and prayer. The 3 hours in solitude with 2 children.
Yeah, I did it with three. So, yeah, you've got to understand that this is, if you're going to do this, you're going to make it a priority. Right. Another thing that you've got to add to this is spiritual reading, because part of what you have to be doing is the formation of your conscience and the formation of your spiritual energy body, which requires the formation required through spiritual reading. St. Padre Pio said that you could not separate spiritual reading from the spiritual path. Padre Pio was a bearer of the stigmata. He was bilocating, and he was a great mystic. It's so important that you understand that this process only accelerates when you understand its purpose. And if you read Come to Wisdom's Door, if you're having trouble understanding that purpose, Come to Wisdom's Door lays it out for you, which is, we are following the path of the prophets, saints, mystics, and sages and ascetics from the last 5,000 years. This is nothing new, nothing new. We are doing what they did. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was to say, no, the Bible's full of it. All other religions, you can tell that these mystics and prophets were going somewhere, traveling somewhere. I mean, some of it I think were aliens taking them for a ride, but some of it I definitely think is them traveling, astrally traveling, or seeing things.
You'd be surprised if you actually look at the texts. I'm a big fan of the ancient sacred texts, and right from the very beginning of my journey, I was instructed to start gathering the ancient sacred texts from all the world religions and traditions. Not just the religions, but the tribal traditions and things like this. And what you have is the mystics were all reaching into the same space, and they were doing it with prayer, meditation, solitude, spiritual reading. And the solitude was something easier to attain to in ages past than it is in today's world. But we have to remember that's part of the reason they were able to do it. You know what I'm saying?
they didn't have a cell phone or a TV or anything to distract them for one. I always loved reading my mom's a Buddhist, and I would read a lot of the Thich Nhat Hanh's what is it? His really big book on like the life of
Old Path White Clouds.
Thank you. Love that book. But the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, sure, you can attain enlightenment. And he's basically chilling out in the woods with his followers. There's not much distraction. Yeah, you can meditate all you want. I try doing that now, Buddha. Try doing it now, Buddha. But I love that book. I do love that book. And I read a lot of spiritual teaching. In my 20s, I got really deeply into spiritualism and studying other religions. And I think that is important. You gotta, these are all the people who've looked at it before you. So you should at least listen to them a little bit.
Well, in reality, it's much more than that. And I think that's what people are missing. So I'm going to emphasize this. In the experiences I've had in the out-of-body experiences, I would I've seen this a multitude of times, this staircase of the ancient sacred texts from the earth to heaven. Now, I want you to think about this. This is really important. These are the ancient sacred texts which were written by souls right before they were ready to graduate from this realm and move on to eternity and beyond. We have the staircase through their words, the last words that they wrote before they finished here. And many of these things, a lot of things people don't realize we have. These are out-of-body experiences. I wrote a book called Near-Death and Out-of-Body Experiences of the Prophets, Saints, Mystics, and Sages in World Religions. And it talks about the birth point of all religions and religious systems, because out-of-body experiences started it all. They're all revelatory moments. They're out-of-body experiences. Even, Zarathustra, in the time of Zoroastrianism, the Pavlovi texts, these are all journeys that were taken into heaven, hell, and purgatory long before, Catholicism defined them as such. We have those kinds of texts in the pyramid texts of ancient Egypt. We have the Rig Veda from Hinduism all the way back 40,000 years ago, which discusses many of these things. We have the Buddhist texts that you talked about, the Pali Canon, the Mahayana texts. I love Buddhism as well, so I'm a big fan there. And, and we have all these writings of these desert fathers and the mystics and the early church fathers and saints from all these traditions. And, the interesting thing that we can say about all of the mystics who were having out-of-body experiences, including those in the Bible and other ancient texts, and the medicine men, the shamans from different locations all around the world, they saw similar things. What does this tell us? They were touching into the same unconsciousness, even whether they were in New Zealand or North America, when there was no communication. So we know that in these writings, we are seeing that there is a common place, that those who have out-of-body experiences have been traveling and continue to travel, where the truth can be revealed and has been revealed. And here we have this tradition of ancient sacred texts that still remains to us, and now even more so because of the internet. A lot of out-of-print texts have become available. We have the last words of the great masters before they left this world. And we wouldn't want to know the last words that they had to say before they finished their work here, graduated from this realm. That's what we need to know so we can finish up here. That's what we need to know. That's why I see it over and over again, the staircase of the ancient sacred texts, because every single one of those great mystics has one of the steps to bring us back to God and into the higher spheres. So out-of-body travel is much more than something that we just kind of play around with on Earth. It is the key to everything.
One of my favorite movies when I was a kid was Altered States. For a kid, that should tell you a lot as a kid. I like Altered States.
Trying to remember whether or not I saw that movie because it sounds familiar.
Late 70s movie where they put people, the scientists is experimenting with a drug from like South America and using isolation tanks, and going into his mind, and he like reverts back to like a caveman in it, like it changes his whole form, whatever. And then all kinds of other crazy stuff happened. But that's how my thought was as a kid, that consciousness is so important, that there's so much more we need to know about it. And I've always, that's my favorite shows were like Quantum Leap. These are.
I love Quantum Leap. I watched every episode of that show too. I loved that show.
Ended horribly, but. But that's just to tell you where I'm coming from. That is something that's fascinated me, the consciousness, the ability that we are not just tied to this physical form, this crude matter.
Right.
We can move on beyond that, and it's not just I'm gonna go fly around. I'm gonna go see what's going on in Area 51.
That'd be fun.
That would be a place I would go if I had that power right away. But an ability to explore our own consciousness deep in our mind, what makes us us. So many people don't even want to ask that question. What makes you you? What really makes you who you are?
Yes, and even when I did do the work with Dr. Rudy Schild on that article we wrote together, one of the things he shared with me was that one of the reasons that some of the astrophysicists were reaching out to mystics was because they were finding in astrophysics that everything energy-wise that they were discovering led back to everything they had been told for the last 5,000 years through the mouths of mystics. And so, they're trying to bring the world of the mystics and the world of science back together, because they're seeing that it's actually proving itself to be true. And so this consciousness, in fact, what he was saying was, and I hope I get this right, he's a lot smarter than me, but that, where we think that he was saying that energy somehow comes down and creates the physical world. And so somehow we were looking at things backward in terms of how things create we were looking at it from consciousness from physicality to consciousness, and we should look from consciousness to physicality, because they were discovering that energy was leading to manifestation. So if we want to understand manifestation, we then have to understand energy. There is no way to avoid this, even as a scientific question, as to what does energy teach us? What does consciousness teach us? Because consciousness really is the root of all knowledge, and that's where we're going to find the answers, not only to a great many technological questions in the world, but to our existence, our purpose, our meaning here. What are we to do here? And this all comes back to the purification of the soul, which is, laid out in the Mysteries of the Redemption for people who are interested in understanding that better. This is, we come here to deal with those darker and lighter elements within ourselves, become compatible to the lighter and lighter things so that we can move forward. But there's a process involved, a great process. We just released the first part of another documentary called The Grand Phases of the Soul, and it's about the purification pathway. And you can catch that on YouTube. It's on the website. You can find it there, or our YouTube channel as well. But we discuss the three big phases of the soul as they've been revealed to me, but ironically, as they've also been revealed in the Pali Canon of Buddhism, in the monastic life of the Buddhists, but it's also has its correlation in the Christian tradition with Catholic monasticism. It's the, we have purification, discrimination, and discipline. And these are the grand phases of the soul. And so it's very interesting that what we are shown today, when we start having out-of-body experiences, is not different than what the mystics were shown 5,000 years ago. You see?
The mechanics got to be the same. I mean, it's got to work the same. There's, for a person 5,000 years ago till now, we're still the same human beings. If we're gonna be for travel, it's gonna be the same mechanism.
Right. And so going back to the original question was, how do I get back into it? The first part is understanding the purpose. Once you understand that it has a purpose, then it's really going to be much easier for you to then take the next steps. And those, involve the basic things like the prayer, the meditation, spiritual reading, solitude. And you can read about that and Come to Wisdom's Door as to how to start making that work for you in your modern day life, because it is hard for us.
Right. Time in the Bland household is a very hard thing to achieve.
I understand that one. Yeah, because I had 3 kids. I relate. And then the Mysteries of the Redemption, it was programmed when I was writing it. I was told it would be programmed to help people to actually start having experiences spontaneously as they read through it, which has proven itself to be true. I have many, many, many people tell me they just start having the experiences spontaneously as they're reading that. I also have a CD called The Frequency of Otara, where I recreated this vibrational raising process according to what the angels taught me. And I put that on a CD. You can download that for free too and try that as well. But you're going to get a lot of guidance in just those first 3 books, and that's going to get you started. But you've got to be willing to make some changes. And it's something to achieve and attain. And so therefore it does require some change. Some of them are harder than others, but that's why I emphasize that it does take like that 3-hour block of time. Because if you only do it for 15 minutes, you're probably not going to have anything happen. Right. It's just not enough time to go deeply enough. And then you're going to learn in Astral Projection Made Easy, but also Come to Wisdom's Door, the signs and things that you can expect to start seeing as you're moving forward towards the experiences.
Well, so yeah, I would think the signs, would be important because you want to know am I doing this right? Because you're like, okay, waiting for the body to leave my body. Here we go. You're talking to Americans here. We want quick and easy. Remember?
Right.
So yeah, so it is. It's like you need to know, like, if you're putting this kind of commitment in, that you're getting the kind of signs that you're doing the right things, or you're heading in that direction.
Right. Yes, and you will get that kind of direction in there as to the kinds of things. I mean, you will start noticing things. Like, for instance, I'll just give you some basic things. As you start opening up, as you start creating, the solitude is so important, because if you don't create some solitude, there's no room for the spirit world, for the heavenly hierarchy to actually enter, for you to hear. And so you have to have that. But you'll start seeing things like, for instance, when you close your eyes, you'll start seeing purple and green lights.
Ooh.
That's a sign that something is starting to stir.
Okay.
Energies
People
are
should be talking about this on the show. Okay, so I'll get to that. Sorry.
Yeah, and you're going to start, people often become more sensitive to psychic things. They're more sensitive to presences. They start feeling that more. They're going to be more likely to have the, getting slammed with energy kind of thing. They feel the Holy Spirit, or they feel a presence. You're going to be more likely to hear the tone changes in rooms. So some people are familiar with that, some are not, but there's a split-second frequency shift that you can hear when you start opening up to the experience.
Is it like a high pitch, like kind of like ring that kind of like tunes, like you feel like something's tuning in your ear and then it goes away?
Ding! Yep. And as very suddenly you'll hear it. And when you hear that shift, you want to pay attention to what's going on around you, because it's usually an indication that you need to pay attention to something that's happening around you, but it's also indicating that your, energy is being changed, altered, shifted. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've heard that before. So I've always been interested when it happens. Like, what's going on? Are you tuning me here? Because that's happened to me, and I don't have tendonitis. What do you got? Tendonitis, where you hear the ring in your ear. It's not that. It is not that.
Right.
It is
totally not that. Totally, it's very different from that. Yes.
We got 5 minutes for the commercial break, but I want to get to this because you mentioned the seeing the purple, okay, and green, right? Okay. Well, I've talked about this on the show, that I find it really weird. Like the solitude I'll get is at night when I'm trying to go to bed. When the kids are finally asleep, and I'll lay there not able to sleep, and I will just look. I'll be getting really relaxed, laying on my back. And it's dark in the room, and I will see the purple, and that's a chemical reaction in your eye. I know that from when you close your eyes, but that purple will start to swirl, and it will turn into images of things you don't understand. I mean, I'm seeing images like I'm watching a TV, and it's not like you can see images when you have your imagination, when you're thinking of something, in your brain. This is like I'm seeing it with my eyes in that purple. That's beginning of astral travel.
Well, that shows you that there are changes going on energetically, that you're getting there. And when that happens, you want to kind of just let it roll. You don't want to interfere with it,
I try not to.
Yes. And another thing too is, as you're going deeper into consciousness, your people are going to feel different levels based on their own consciousness and how they've practiced. But as you start feeling like when your body parts start going numb, you want to let that happen. When they start vibrating, when you start feeling tingling, you want to let that happen. You don't want to interfere with that any more than you have to. One of the things I always tell people is always make sure you go to the bathroom before you're going to do this, because having to go to the bathroom can totally blow it, and so you want to take care of that.
I got to go pee.
Yeah.
You know,
Like,
that-
oh,
that- that
sorry
happened to me.
about that. I was going to talk to you, but oh well.
Well, but I've had that feeling of like my body getting super heavy. Like I'm like gonna
Yes.
like melt into my bed, and like something's about to happen. But then there's like this sudden like I'm not breathing, and like I gasp and wake up. Or,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm conscious. I'm
that-
lucid. I'm
That
totally
is
there.
actually something I mentioned in Astral Projection Made Easy, but probably also in Come to Wisdom's Door. A lot of people freak out because there is a moment where you feel this, what feels like a cessation of breath. And they don't
Yeah,
feel it.
exactly.
But what it is you're actually disconnecting from the physical body to the spiritual body, which has a different kind of breathing. So when that happens, unless you have sleep apnea, so I'm just getting that in there.
No
Let's,
worries,
you know,
we do. My
But,
wife will put that out there. She says like she's heard me wake up gasping like
she
that.
might be, then you might need to be checked out for the sleep apnea. I use a CPAP
But I've been
machine, so I
conscious of
understand
it.
that.
I've
Yeah,
been
well-
conscious of it though. That's the thing. I've been conscious of like getting into that state, and like like I feel like I am about to leave my body, and then I hit that point, and it's
it
like
freaks you out. It freaks you out because you feel like you can't breathe. So when that happens, and so you want to differentiate between the two, because you know the actual sleep apnea is a medical condition which you want to go get checked out for, and and the other part is one that you want to try to move through. So you're actually going to try to move through it, and a big part of getting through into the vibrational state and trying to get to the point of having the out-of-body experience is disciplining the mind, because when the vibrations then come on, you're also going to have a little bit of freaking out because they're so powerful, and so you're working your way through like, okay, now next time you experience this, you want to see if you can move through it, and you have to literally discipline your mind. So, okay, I know that this could be that I'm just going through that momentary phase where it feels like that, but it's not really happening that way. You know what I mean? And you just try to let it slide, go deeper. And then, but again, as you enter the vibrations, you might have to discipline. When it hits, you're going to be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Because it's so powerful, and then the other thing that people often report is, I saw somebody, a deceased person I love, and then you freak out and you're like, oh my God, but you're dead. And you're like, and then, like all of a sudden it's like you're pulled away. So again, that's another where you want to pull back the excited response and try to move through it so that you don't pull yourself back to the body instantly, because that's what we can do with our excited or fearful or any kind of reaction like that can be abrupt.
Jarring.
The jarring, yes.
I have some other experiences like that I want to get to when we come back. We got to go to commercial break. And when we do, we'll also open up the phone lines for the audience to call in. Share, you got a question for our guest tonight, call in. Or if you had your own experience with astral travel or out of body, I'd love to hear about it tonight. Call in. We'll give out those phone numbers when we come back from this commercial break. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
When Alex Gardner is asleep, he has an extraordinary gift. The government wants it, the scientists want it, but to keep it may cost him his life. It might be better if Alex didn't sleep at all, but he cannot resist entering the dreamscape. Can you? See Dreamscape in the West End and all over London now. Certificate 15. It takes an extraordinary adventurer to enter the Dreamscape.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content? The Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
This is an APAC studio presentation.
Hi, I'm Barry, owner-operator of Barry's Barometer Barn. Lately, I bet you've been lying awake at night asking yourself, how many barometers do I really need? Well, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we think you need more than one. Otherwise, we're going to go out of business. Remember, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we don't know the meaning of high-pressure sales. Come on, folks, buy another barometer. I'm trying to put my kids through college. I've got a family to support and a secret mistress who isn't cheap.
Visit Barry's Barometer Barn, 000 Storm Drive. Come on, folks, buy a barometer. I'm Barry's older brother, Larry. And every time one of you people walk past the store without coming in, Barry beats me.
This has been a presentation from Tim Morgan's APAC Studio. For more almost professional amateur comic studio content, visit the APAC YouTube channel. Search APAC 2002. That's APAC 2002 on YouTube.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine and soon, paranationmag.com.
For every earthling who's ever dreamed of adventures beyond the stars comes the astonishing story of one who made it, Alex Rogan.
You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sur and the Kodan Armada.
Of all the life forms in all the galaxies, one has been chosen to be the last starfighter. The last starfighter, with the film the #1 hit Do They Know It's Christmas, the official Band-Aid story. In the West End and across London now, rated PG.
The night is alive. Join us and take a walk on the weird side when you tune in to the Kingdom of Nye, hosted by Heather Wade, the finest in late night talk. Listen live free weeknights starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time at thekingdomofnye.com, talkstreamlive.com, and the Paranormal Radio app. Wanna take a ride?
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42.
42?
Yes, I thought it over quite thoroughly. It is, it's 42. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question. The ultimate question. Of everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know the question will you know what the answer means.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419 or by Skype caller ID 00JBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight, our guest is Marilynn Hughes. She's the founder of the Out-of-Body Travel Foundation. She's written over 101 books on this subject. She has a book out, Astral Projection Made Easy, and that's what we're talking about tonight. Do you want to learn how to leave your body? I do. I would like, there's the kid part of me that would love, like I said, go explore Area 51 or the pyramids, all these places I can't travel to. But the real part that I want to know is I want to explore, who am I? Where do I come from? Past lives. We didn't get to that subject. I felt from two visions I've had of what I believe are two different past lives I had, I learned so much about myself just from those. There's these incredible vivid dreams. I mean, imagine what you could learn if you could ultimately access all the things of your soul, who you are, why you're here. That's the biggest question in the world. So many people don't ask it. So many people don't care. Well, I do, and I know my audience does. I know my chat room's full of people asking a lot of great questions, and we're going to get to those tonight. But you can call in. Those phone lines are open. Call in and ask your question or tell us about your own experience. But let's go ahead and get back to our guest. We lost Jamie. She might have lost power to her phone. I don't know. She might be setting some up. Hopefully we get Jamie back on. I had somebody who was asking a question, Marilynn, in the thing, and I kind of wanted to totally lost it. It was way back. It was Kim who asked it. Jamie. Oh, here it is. Okay. Because this is kind of goes back to what I was talking about, seeing the purple and that. She goes, Jamie, who's not here right now, she'll hopefully be back. Can you ask her about faces of people you have no idea of, as well as seeing the eye of hours, which I don't know what that is. I've seen for years when I close my eyes every night. Well, that's what I'm saying. When I see that purple, I see faces of people I don't know. Why would I? Why am I seeing all these faces and images of scenes and things that make no sense to me?
Well, sometimes the faces are of people that you need to pray for. So sometimes people will see faces, and these are people who are asking for prayer, because this goes into the area of ghosts and lost souls who need assistance. You can learn a lot about that in the Mysteries of the Redemption. We have some souls who end up becoming wandering spirits, lost for various reasons. There's a variety of reasons, and then souls who are in need of prayer for different reasons, or they're looking for help. And so a lot of times you are seeing faces of souls who need assistance. I think she might be referring to the Eye of Horus.
That's what I was wondering. That's what Chris.
Okay, there she is. Yes.
Yeah.
The Eye of Horus. I actually saw that one flash on the screen. I was kind of hoping you'd bring it up. Christina, the Eye of Horus, that's the...
Pointing that out. It was Kim who had the experience.
Kim who had the experience. Okay, my apologies. Yeah. Usually when someone starts seeing the Eye of Horus, that's about the initiations into the mysteries. Right. So this would be an indication that she's being invited into the initiations. And it's really neat. That's really neat. There's all these stages. There's 8 stages that are laid out in the ascension pathway, which is the what we talked about, the purification pathway. And the 4th is the stages that have to do with the rites of passage, initiations into the mysteries. And the Eye of Horus is always the symbol indicating an invitation to enter. So I believe that that's what's happening. And I would tell her to consider with prayerful intention to be open to exploring that further, because there's a lot to be learned there. There's a lot of these mysteries and the initiations that actually do, Jason, go into the pyramids of Egypt. You go into the great mysteries of the Sphinx, you go into the chamber, yes, and so there's different things that you experience during the initiations. And she might want to read that section in the Mysteries of the Redemption, which is called Passage to the Ancient, which is about what happens when you enter into the Eye of Horus.
On the rabbit hole, right? Well, for me, even I mentioned this on the show during the lockdown. I was seeing the purple, but this time I wasn't seeing random places or people's faces I don't understand. I kept on seeing the gray, which disturbed me, and I'm like,
the gray
why?
faces.
Yes, is that common too? I mean,
like the gray alien? Are you talking about gray aliens?
Like the gray alien, black eyes, and that's what was looking at me a couple times. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this now. That's how it is.
Well, I think in your case, it might be common. And I think that it is common with a lot of people who are experiencers of these alien types of experiences, which it kind of seems like you have some type of contact with that. So yeah, for people who have had that, yes, it is, definitely. I think so, for sure on that. Another thing about the faces too, you can also be seeing things regarding faces of souls or images of people who may have had meaning to you in previous lifetimes. You were talking about past lives.
Yeah.
Past lives are a big thing in the out-of-body experience. You start traveling backwards, forwards, and into parallel times as well, into these lifetimes. And there is a purpose. And you mentioned that you had some very life-changing remembrances. These things come to us to kind of kick us into realizing what our habitual behaviors are, the things that we may have done over and over again and that we're not getting right, so that we can kind of see how we might be able to address it differently in this lifetime.
Well, say it was so impactful to me because I've always told people I've been wired to question everything and be agnostic. There's a couple other things I've always felt I've been wired since I was a childhood to be like, besides questioning religion, questioning authority, and not liking when other people try to exert control over others. So the two main dreams I've had in my life that I woke up from, for sure, I just saw my past lives. One, I was a little black girl who was a slave, who was beaten by her father, who was white, who was, secret love child kind of deal. The other one was a Buddhist monk who found out that my temple leader, I don't know who he was smoking opium, and I turned him into these military people that showed up with rifles and then ended up killing everybody in the temple. And so both those things explain a lot to me about why I've always been this way, why I've always questioned religion. I don't trust authority, and I don't like people having control of other people because, one, I don't like slavery. I don't like, it just really, when I look back at those dreams, what I think were visions of my past life, it explains why I'm wired this way. From not my parents have a lot of influence on how I was raised and everything, but I felt like I've always been wired this way.
Well, right. And we bring those past life experiences and patterns into the present. And, that's an interesting, both of them are interesting and make perfect sense why you would bring that into the present. And, it's also an interesting thing to note that, even in some religions that some people consider more free, there's always certain levels of control. And so if you experienced a lifetime as a monk, you may very well feel the need to have much more room this time around, because, well, obviously they all got killed too, but you also, as a monk, it's a very disciplined lifestyle, whether it's as a Buddhist monk, a Catholic monk, or a monk in any other type of religious environment. They're very, very disciplined.
I was betrayed by my religion in this dream. I caught the person I thought was enlightened and a master not being a master enlightened, and then betrayed by, turned to the government or whatever this was that I turned them into. I was like Judas. They went and turned around, betrayed us all. It betrayed me and tried killed the temple and chased me down. And the last part I remember is me running through a jungle in the dream. It was I woke up sweating from it, but it explains why I dislike big governments and I dislike religion.
Yeah. Well, you felt betrayed by both.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only betrayed, but also controlled, because neither one was being honest up front, or because think how easily that could have actually been handled. If it had been handled in a different way, your leader could have just said, okay, yeah, sorry, and okay, chill, and it could have been totally different. But we've all had these past lifetimes, and one of the things that I've experienced in mine as well is you do have that intensity when you go back to them. That is, when you, especially like you remember the moment that you were killed. And you can feel the pain, and you do wake up not only sweating, but you're like feeling it. You know what I mean?
To the jungle, and I don't know if I died or what happened. At that point, I woke up right when I just remember hitting the spot, and they're up above this ledge. I see these gray pants and boots, and then pointing the rifles at me, and boom, I woke up. Now, when I was a little black girl being beat to death, I felt the whole being beat to death with this broomstick handle. I felt dying. I felt that whole death and everything. That was another, just, and these things you don't forget. It's what is, I have so many weird dreams and stuff. I can't grasp what happened in the dream. But these things were so vivid. I still can picture the images in my mind all these years later of those experiences. Right. That's why I hold on to them. I know they're true. I just know deep inside they are true experiences.
Well, and we carry our memories with us, not just on a spiritual level, but it actually embodies with us cellularly into our physical, so we carry it with us in, very, very strong ways. And, as you are going through the purification process, you're bringing back these memories of these times. And the purpose then becomes to bring the knowledge of all those lifetimes together. And, many of us have experienced times where there was some type of oppression, and so we're going to want to overcome that oppression and be able to able to experience the soul, pursue the spiritual path in a way that is not controlled. Because God isn't controlled. God just is, so so his essence and existence is not this way. But one of the things that we find is that anytime someone takes a revelation, an out-of-body experience, tries to bring it down to the ground and embody it in a structure, then it kind of gets a little bit contaminated, even when it's not intended to, because the spiritual is not a construct. It's not a structure. It is this vast, continually moving thing. And so if it's not allowed to continue to move and live and breathe, then it dies. And that is why we are always fighting against this control or this structure, because it actually keeps us from growing more spiritually, moving higher in our development.
Just be prepared. I might have to throw you over on the Skype. You're getting a little bit, or on the phone, because it's doing like a crackle pop thing. You hearing that, Rob and Jamie? Yeah. Okay.
I'm hearing it too.
Yeah, I'm hoping it just flattens out and goes away. Come on, internet. Yeah. Yeah, I like to keep you on here, especially for phone calls. And by the way, phone lines are open, 219-230-4444, Skype ID JBland00. Those are the two can be open, because I might have to put her on the other line. Hopefully we can hold on to this. There was a question I wanted to get here from Miss Debbie. Is our out-of-body experience the same thing as astral travel, or is that OBE happen spontaneously, and can you control astral travel?
No, they're not the same thing, but they are the same thing in essence. But astral travel, the only difference is it is speaking in reference to fourth realm travel, which is the astral realm. So we are third dimensional beings. Astral travel relates to the fourth realm travel. Out of body travel refers to the multi-dimensional travel that can encompass heavens, hells, purgatories, and any realm in between.
So astral place. It's a place you go. It's
yes, it's the astral realm. The astral plane, which overlaps human physical reality. And so when people talk about astral travel, they don't always realize that it's kind of limiting themselves. You don't want to stay there. You want to travel to more places. But yeah, so it's kind of like not an important detail, but it is a difference. In terms of can you control them? You can, to some extent. However, you don't want to. The reason why you don't want to is because this is the thing that a lot of people don't realize. If you try to control out-of-body experiences, you are literally going to really ironically limit yourself. Going back to your comments about control.
Yeah.
So the reason why is if you put it out there and you allow God to show you what He wants you to see, then you are going to see things that you would never imagine yourself. And so you want to surrender. And I apologize, I'm getting the feedback too, so I'm trying to.
Okay, let's stop right here, Marilyn. We can try one thing. I can have you pop out and pop back in and see if that fixes it, or we can throw you on the line because I got people calling in here too. What do you want to try? Do you want to try to pop back out and pop back in, or do you want me to throw you over on the phone?
I'll pop out and pop back in, and if that doesn't work, we can do the next thing. Does that sound good?
Yeah, because that popping worse. And yes, people, I know you're calling in. I got one phone line right now because I'm going to keep the other one open for Marilyn as she goes. We'll bring them on right now. We got one person waiting. Hey, Zach, how you doing, man?
Just ready for this weekend to end, man. How about yourself?
Right. Well, the world didn't end. I think we're past that point. For me, I got about 10 more minutes to see if the world ends. All right, let's see. Hold on a second, Zach. Let's see if her connection's better. Okay. All right, Marilyn, let's see.
All right. Are we any better?
I'm not hearing the crackle pop. All right, Rob, Jamie?
Sounds
not
like
sure.
I'm not hearing the crackle pop like we're eating Rice Krispies. That's what it sounded like. All right, well, Marilyn, we got Zach on the line here, and Zach's always got great questions. So go ahead and fire away, Zach.
Okay, I just have two questions this evening. Marilyn, it's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, with out-of-body experiences and astral projection, there have been mention of, going out of one's body to different parts of the world in current time or even alternative dimensions. But my first question is it possible to use astral projection as a means to view past events? Why or why not?
That can happen, but I guess the question would be what the purpose would be for it. Because if you use astral projection for that, there may be alterations in the way that you might visualize it. So if you're looking to find out exactly what happened about a prior event, it's probably not necessarily the most accurate way to do it because there will be shifts in exactly how things went down. There's all these parallels that overlap that affect that sort of thing. Would it be better if I let you call me on Skype?
Yeah, let's try it because we're getting the pop crack. Hold on, pop crack. Hold on, Zach. We're gonna switch her over. Okay. Go ahead and hang up on here, and I'll call you on Skype. That work? Yep. All right, let me call her. Hopefully, it's better on Skype. After that, we're going to phone.
On, but came back.
Hello.
You hear me, Marilyn?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hopefully, this is better. Sorry, technical problems.
Yeah, technical problems.
All right. Zach, go ahead and fire away with your other question.
Okay. And then my second question is, when someone is going through the phase where they're trying to have an out-of-body experience.
Oh, no, hold on, Zach. She's not hearing you. Hold on. Let me see what got changed in settings. No, great. Hold on a second, Marilyn.
No worries.
No, let's see. I don't know why you're not hearing him. See, I was worried about this line tonight too. Darn it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because something got changed on a setting or something got messed up. Let me see. Darn it. I hate doing this in the middle of a show. Hold on. Dang it. Devices, no. System, display, and sounds. Let's go. Let me check something.
Okay.
Your output device. Let's see. Let's try this one. I hope maybe. Hopefully this doesn't screw everything up. All right, go ahead and talk, Zach. Say something.
Something.
Did you do that?
No.
No, that didn't work. All right. Let me go. Now I lost what I had it on before. Oh, cable B, maybe? Cable B. Say something again, Zach.
Something again.
Did you hear him then?
No.
Ah, shoot. What got messed up? All right, let me try something really quick. I'm going to unplug you and replug you. Hold on. Dang it. All right. You hear me, Marilyn?
I hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk again, Zach.
All right. Can you hear me?
No, I take it she can't. Dang it. What got messed up?
Are you able to hear me as well, Marilyn?
Do you hear Rob talking?
Do you hear me?
Whoa. You don't hear Rob either? What got messed up on my settings?
Weird.
Oh, that is
Test
weird.
1, 2, 3.
You don't hear Jamie either on here?
No, I do not. I'm
What
sorry.
the heck is going on, man? Huh. That should be my line out.
Paranormal.
Do you want to summarize his question and all?
Shoot, I'm trying to think here. What else? We'll check on one more thing and see if I can fix it. I don't know why you can't hear them. You can't hear Zach. Why? Let's see. Let me try this. Disconnect that audio. Connect that. Sometimes it could just be a stereo way that it's split.
Yeah.
All right. Say something, Rob.
Hey, can you hear me at all, Marilyn? Nope.
I guess you can't. Damn it. All right, Marilyn. Why don't you hop back on StreamYard? We'll see what happens with that.
Okay.
This line's not working either. Dang it.
Okay.
All right,
no
back and forth.
worries.
Sorry, musical streaming here.
Okay.
Damn it. All right, well, we'll try her back on StreamYard. Hang in there, Zach. Dang it. I don't know what got messed up. I noticed something the other night that got messed up. All right, we got you back on StreamYard.
Hi.
All right. Go ahead and see the next question. Hopefully we can hold her on here. Go for it.
Okay. My second question is, when someone is getting ready to do astral projection, how can one differentiate between astral projection and lucid dreaming?
Oh, if you have an out-of-body experience, you're going to know it. One of the things I always say is, if you have to ask if you had an out-of-body experience, you didn't have one. You'll know because the vibrations are so strong. So you'll know if it's lucid dreaming. But what you need to realize, though, is that, it doesn't really matter in the sense that, people will experience aspects of out-of-body experiences in some types of lucid dreaming, spiritual dreams, and they can still have just as much importance and significance. So don't denigrate their value or importance just because they might not be a fully conscious experience. It's just about the level of consciousness. Everybody has these experiences at night. Most people are not conscious of them. They're subconscious experiences. It's just part of the way the spirit works, the spirit world works, and how consciousness works in this world and the next, and how evolution moves through the human psyche. But the out-of-body experience and astral travel experience is something that you will know that it was definitely, I had got out of my body. The vibration is so strong, so powerful. It's an undeniable type of experience. So it'll be clear for sure.
Sorry about all the technical problems there, Zach, but thank you for calling. You always have great questions.
Thank you for your patience, Zach.
Absolutely, everybody. Thank you, Marilynn, once again for answering my questions. Have a good night.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks, Zach. All right. Hold on. We got another person here, but I'm going to have them hold on a second. The only other thing is maybe the headphone mic. I don't know. It sounds like distortion there. I can't figure out why I can't get you on the other line to work right. Dang it. Everything. Planets in retrograde. I don't know. Dang it. I was trying to fix the other phone while we were talking here. Man, what is this? All right.
We can try my Skype line if you want.
Might have to. I don't know. Because it's weird because I don't know why she can't hear anybody on my other Skype line. I've had guests on there a billion times before. And I had a feeling something was wrong with it tonight. I was like, when you're like, I could do StreamYard. I'm like, okay, let's do that. Phone call here. We got Joyce on the phone line. How you doing tonight, Joyce?
Hi, I'm doing okay.
Hi, Joyce.
Tommy and I are on the line. I hope he's not playing around with the line.
Maybe it's Tommy. Make sure you have the show turned off in the background, Joyce, too.
I went into the other room.
Okay.
So he.
All right.
So anyway, I had a really strange experience when I was like in my 20s, and this was like early, probably in around the 80s, and I got out of myself. I had the real strong vibrations and everything, and I tumbled out and I started flying, and I flew to a place. And it was like there were round, how can I explain it? Round roofs and stuff, like round buildings. And I landed in an alley, and I saw two men, and they were speaking to each other, and they were conspiring against a president.
Okay.
They were going to kill this president. Now, I was like really shocked by this, and I came back, and I didn't know what to think about this at all. And then a couple of days later, there was on the newscast that there was somebody was conspiring against the president in Moscow.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it was very interesting because when I saw the buildings, I said that was where it was.
Okay. Well, see what you're talking about. I always talk about this. I call it the management realm. This is where psychics will tune into what might happen down below. And that's why sometimes psychics can be a little bit wrong or something changes, because in the management realm, this is where thoughts, actions, deeds are all forming, where something is going to hit the ground, so to speak. And that is also where things can be changed or altered. And it sounds like you traveled there to where these people were actually preparing and forming this action, and where it was about to happen, and then it did happen. Now, like when you go into, like, for instance, I talked about the alteration pathway, which is talked about in Medicine Woman Within a Dream and the Mysteries of the Redemption. You actually learn how to go into that realm, and you start learning how to alter things energetically, to alter and stop things from hitting the ground. And so it sounds like you touched into something there that did happen on the ground. And so I think that's what happened there for you. So, it's interesting. There's not always a lot of rhyme or reason why some people will touch into certain events, like airplane crashes or world events like this. But sometimes people do that,
I've had airline crashes. When I would have dreams, and then there would be an airline that would crash, and my husband knows all about this. And
So
then
maybe you
I
have
would
a gift
know
in that way.
things like that.
It sounds like you may have.
The other thing is, that when you were talking about reincarnation and stuff like that, I would have, when I was very young, I would have a dream that I was being murdered, and I was being murdered like every month.
Okay.
In my dreams, and it was going on for years and years. And I've always felt like I don't want to be murdered. I'd rather die by a disease than be murdered. And my father came down with leukemia, and I changed my tune on that. But the thing was, I was still being murdered. And I had a particular name, and I found out through a Kabbalist that my name was attached to someone who, in my family, who actually was murdered. He died.
Okay.
And my mom never told me this. And she stepped forward, and then she tells me about this when I'm 26 years old. And the Kabbalist says, if I change my name, I will change my destiny. And they went ahead and they had my name changed, and I didn't have the dreams anymore.
Interesting.
This was going on. It was going on for years. This was happening every month.
Did you have that? Was this person had deceased before you were born?
Yes.
I mean, it's very possible. I mean, there's a couple of possibilities there. One is you may have been that soul. And it's also possible that you came in and for whatever reason were very sensitive to that soul. I mean, it's obvious from your other experiences that naturally you're very sensitive anyway. And so it sounds like whatever they did was helpful. I don't think it would have necessarily been your destiny to have been murdered again. It seems like you were touching into an event that had already occurred. And perhaps there was something attached to it that you needed to avoid to actually, especially if you were that soul and you reincarnated into the same family, wanting to break that cycle, that chain, and move into a different outcome this time, because that event would have had some very strong energetic ties to you, which you obviously experienced, so you would want to do something so that you would not energize, attract, or recreate what happened before because of that heavy duty energy that you carried from the previous time. Have you found more out about this family member since that time? Because it'd be interesting to see if you feel any kind of affinity for that person, because it's possible, it's possible that
he's my grandfather.
Okay. Okay.
My father's, he died when my dad was only 8 years old.
Wow. Okay.
By some anti-Semitic people.
Wow, very interesting. Well, and see, that would even bring in the ancestral karma of, the anti-Semitic stuff of the Jewish people and the Jewish family. So this would be like an event that had like a greater significance karmically, because it's an anti-Semitic event. This is not just a random murder. This is something that was carried through the family. Even if it wasn't talked about energetically, that would be definitely tied to the family. And so that's interesting. That's very interesting. I think it would be very interesting for you to learn more about him, whatever's available, because one way or the other, you have a strong connection to this man.
Yeah. My mom, she's not all there anymore, and my dad had passed away from leukemia, so I can't. I have talked outer body experience to my father. I have done that.
Okay.
And I have talked to I've talked to souls before, and Jason knows all about it. But the other out of the experience that I had that is really memorable to me is because I actually had an outer body experience when I went to the store and I met a friend at the store, and we were saying hi to each other, and I'm like thinking, oh, this seems like a dream, more like a dream than an outer body experience. You know, I'm talking to this person. Then I came back, and the next day my friend says, hey, it was nice seeing you at the record store. I'm like, I wasn't there. Not in my body. I don't know how she
might have sensed your presence, and it just registered to her in that different way, because astrally you probably were there, you know. and sometimes that happens, and what a neat what a neat verification for you as well, you know.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you talking to me, and
you're very welcome.
For taking my phone call. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been nice talking to you. Very interesting story.
Yeah, and thank you, Joyce. I needed that because I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on with my stuff.
I think Tommy might be playing around with your thing again.
It's either that or it was my 4-year-old that was left unattended down here making a video game video.
That could do it for sure.
And my mixing board, maybe? I don't know, because I think I might have fixed it on the phone line. I think so. I might be able to bring her on the phone. Like, I don't know why we're getting the pop, crackle, snap, crackle, pop on here still. I don't know.
I don't know.
It might be.
Thank you so much. I wish I could find my journals, because I journaled all my visits and stuff.
Oh, you should keep journaling them. Yeah, keep journaling. Jeff, I always recommend for everybody, journal these types of experiences, because you find things out over time where things make more sense later than they will maybe even at the moment you have the experience. So journal them. Keep it down. Yeah.
You know, I can't do the outer body anymore. I'm on a sleep medication, and for some reason, being on the sleep medication, I just can't do it anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, it's different for different people, because not everybody has that reaction. Some people are able to do it with various, different types of medication they have to take, and some people it impacts them differently. So that's a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joyce.
You're very welcome.
Right. Take care.
You too.
All right. We could try it again on the Skype line. I don't know if I fixed it. I don't know. I don't know why this knob, I have so many knobs, I can't keep track of which one's supposed to be turned which way. Turn this knob, but I have a little meter. So if you get on the Skype, you should be able to hear the other phone line, and you hear Jamie and Rob from there, I would hope.
Okay, well, whatever you want me to do, you tell me where to be. I'm cool. Whatever.
Yeah, we're still getting the snap, crackle, pop on this. That's what sucks. You guys are hearing it, right, Jamie, Rob?
Yeah, it's like an echo.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, let's try it. I'm going to call you on Skype. Let's see how that goes. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Hold on, audience. Planets in retrograde. This is what happens.
I've got
hang up here. I'll call you on Skype. We'll give it a shot. One more try.
Plan.
I have a question for you from the YouTube chat as well.
See, I'm in a little crackle pop from you guys too, a little bit. So it must be something with StreamYard. My internet has been fun, or my internet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Can you hear Rob? Go ahead and talk.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Marilyn?
I can hear Rob. Yes.
Yes. All right. We're rocking and rolling. I think it's StreamYard and my internet or something going on here, because I felt like my internet was slow today before the start of the show. I'm like, something's going on with my internet. No. All right. We got people trying to call in too. Sorry, Marilyn.
I think, Rob, did you have a question too?
Happens to all of us.
All right,
Yes.
go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
From the YouTube chat room, Royal Howard wants to know if on any of your experiences, like, astral travel, if you've come back with bruises or anything like that. He's experienced
Physical
that.
evidence?
Let me think. I've definitely come back with pain. I don't recall bruises, but I've had especially, talking about those past life remembrances where you come back with some strong pain in the area of where you might have been, axed in the, wherever you were murdered. I don't know about bruising. I don't think I've had that. I know that I've heard that happen with some people. So, but not for me. I don't think so. Not that I can recall right off the top of my head. Yeah, it is. It's a great question.
All right, we got somebody else on the phone line here. 405 area code. Who do we got? Hopefully you'll hear them.
It's your buddy, Pale Tyler. Happy Father's Day.
Oh, thank you, Tyler. Happy Father's Day to you. You hear him, Marilyn?
I do.
Oh, okay, thank God. Right, go ahead, Tyler.
Hi, my name is Tyler. I'm so glad I'm able to talk to you tonight. And,
me too.
Hey, nice to meet you, Tyler.
Yes, I'm actually you're the last caller before Joyce. He started going in on about lucid dreaming and the difference. And sometimes, like what you were just saying, like you see the blue light, then your ears are kind of ringing, and then you start falling back asleep, and then it feels like you're falling, and then you catch yourself. And then,
that's
next
exactly
thing you know, you're wide awake, and it's hard to fall back asleep.
Yes.
I feel like I get there almost, and then when I do get there, I skyrocket. And sometimes I was just asked Jamie about this. I sent her a message. We were playing PUBG one night, and we were talking about having out-of-body experiences, and me and Rob and Jamie were like, okay, so let's try to see if we can dream about this. And the next day, I was like, did it work? I think it, because I was like, yeah, because I had a dream about you and Rob, and we're all hanging out, and we're about to go ghost hunting together, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think we had like a meetup spot that we were going to try to see if we could meet up at.
Okay, like in the astral realm or somewhere, or
Yeah, we were just trying to, project ourselves in a different spot and see if we could all meet up and see if we
At a haunted location.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it just so happened it was just like all our interest in, like the dream my dream put us all into what we would be doing, hanging out and going ghost hunting.
yeah. So did you go to like a particular physical location that you knew was haunted, or were you going to a particular place in the astral where you were going to look for ghosts there?
Yeah, something like that. We were in the astro and we were looking for ghosts in there, but we started off riding in a vehicle. That's what I just remember, riding in a car. And
What was strange about it?
I don't my dreams necessarily, because I'm always wanting to get right back into my dream, but I need to start writing them down.
What Jamie, what were you going to say?
What was strange about it was we kind of had forgotten about it. I kind of had forgotten about it. And before bed, we were all supposed to like meditate this and everything. And then I had disregarded, not thought about my dreams. And then Tyler had mentioned something, and it turned out we dreamed pretty much the same thing. And then we had talked to Rob, without like coaching and trying to feel him out, and the things were like, okay, we had something did work last night.
I've had that experience with my wife more than once, where we like dreamt like one of those dreams. Like I was like, I had this really weird dream. Me and you, we were walking, we were at this party, and I was telling her what it looked. She goes, "That was my dream last night," and that was an actual party I was at, but I dreamt about it last night. It's like, yeah, there was a guy doing coke there, and we're like, what the heck, you know? And she's like, that actually happened to me in life, but I dreamt about it again last night, and I'm like, well, I was in your dream. I dreamt that.
Yeah, and so what you can do definitely is that when you are trying to bring together souls to, you know, join together energetically, that yes, you can enter each other's dreams, and you can actually meet in certain spaces. And so, yeah, you can do that. And so, what is the question? I'm sorry.
I guess this question. Go ahead.
Is that like the indication, like when I start feeling like that? Because I mean, right before that dream, I did have that, like I was falling and I caught myself, like, because I thought I was falling off my bed, for example, but I was just, you know, just laying in the bed just fine. And yeah, sure enough, and
yeah, that is a pretty typical thing that a lot of people experience, even people who are not thinking about the out-of-body experience, that that is an indication that they may have been touching into the edge of an out-of-body experience, in that they feel like they're falling suddenly.
Yeah, that's
because you are literally falling, oftentimes falling back into your body. That's what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so a lot of times people are literally touching into that moment when they're coming back into their body, and they don't realize that that's what it is, and it feels like falling, but it's actually the spirit re-entering the physical body. So yes, that is.
I mean, I've had, when I was a kid, I know this is probably going on a little bit longer than my question. This will really make everybody kind of intrigued. But when I was a kid, I had an EKG test done to me. I had to stay up for I think it was 24 hours. I couldn't sleep, and then when I finally got to sleep, I can actually remember, and it's all the way back when I was 5th grade, is when I fell asleep, I could see myself hooked up, and then I don't know what the data was. I just had all kinds of weird dreams when that was going on. But I could, right before I fell asleep, I could see my body hooked up to this machine. I was like, why is this going on? And then boom. I don't know what's going on with what happened with that, but that was many years ago, so it's kind of cool.
Well, sometimes when you, especially like when you're unusually tired, you're more likely to have a spontaneous experience where you are visualizing yourself outside of your body, which is what it sounds like happened there. And it's because when you're unusually tired, the level of consciousness comes a little easier for that experience to occur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Tyler, for calling in, man.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler.
Thank you so much for answering. Thank you for
You're
letting
welcome,
me share
Tyler.
and answer my questions.
Oh, you're welcome,
Y'all have a good
Tyler.
rest of your night.
Thanks for calling. You too.
Have a great night, Tyler. I'm realizing, like, you know, my 4-year-old was down here playing. I let him play video games on here. I'm like, what else did he touch? Because, like, I'm hearing you out of one ear. I'm like, man, he messed up some stuff. I don't know. I watched him. I actually could watch him on the video, and I never saw him touch my mixing board, though. That's what's so weird. Something turned the knobs on my thing. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that video again, but I don't remember him ever touching my mixing board. But something turned the knobs all the way down. My boys know not to touch the mixing board. This is so weird.
Is it in a spot where their knees could have like rubbed against it?
No. They literally would have to purposely reach over and grab it. I kind of sent them away from it. I mean, and Liam knows, even at 4, just don't touch Daddy's mixing board if you want to play on his computer. So this is weird. I don't know. I mean, literally knobs turned that shouldn't have been turned. Sorry. I'm like sitting here going, what is going on here? Okay. But yeah, you know, I like I said, the shared dream thing is really, you know, when you're sharing a dream, you know, it's not the astral realm, but is that out of body though? I mean, we're meeting with somebody else in their dream? Are we meeting inside their head? Are we meeting in some other place? I mean, it's like kind of that's what the wonder is.
Sometimes, you know, you have different levels of dreams. Like you have dreams that are just what would be mundane dreams that are more related to your brain working things out, versus like what would be considered a great spiritual dream, which would be something that is more likely like an out-of-body experience that you're not remembering fully consciously. And that kind of great spiritual dream would have something where there's, perhaps a spiritual teacher and you're being taught something really important, something like that. And but like for the types of dreams you're describing, it's probably more of a regular dream. When you're talking about meeting in the astral realm to maybe go ghost hunting, that's kind of like a little bit more borderline, but not quite getting over into the spiritual dream area yet. Right. But coming over there more just a little bit. So there's different levels of these experiences. The spiritual dreams that people have are the ones that are extremely instructive. Like, for instance, even just the ones you talked about, where you had the past life remembrances, which really had some powerful information for you.
Well, yeah. You mentioned spiritual instructions. I've had dreams throughout my life. I remember one where I was in, like, I don't know if you've ever seen The Matrix, when he's in like the total white Matrix area where everything's white and the guns come rolling up or whatever. I was like in an area like that, but there was no guns. It was actually looked like the Virgin Mary.
Okay.
And she was conveying, like, I swear, apocalyptic end of the world stuff to me or something. But it's like, and I knew it all. I understood everything there when I was there with her in the dream. Like, I remember that. I felt like I understood everything there, but it's like, as soon as I woke up, it's like all that information's gone. My brain can't translate it here in this reality. But when I was there, I could understand it. And I've had other experiences like that where I'm being taught something and I'm like, oh yeah, I understand all this. And then I come back and I'm like, what?
Right, because when you're connecting, especially like when one of the stages of the out-of-body experience would be that you connect to the unconditional love of God and also to the mind of God. And while you're there, you understand all mysteries,
Yeah.
But then when you come back, you don't understand all mysteries, So that's one of those types of things where while you're in that experience, excuse me, you were able to process all that information, and then you are not able to really understand it when you come back. And that's very, very common and ironically interesting as well, because the apocalyptic part of it, just because of the times that you had chosen to be born in. You've chosen to be born in a certain time period. Yes. And so, it makes sense that you would be instructed on this time period as to what your purpose here. And you may not remember that part, but I'm sure that was included as to your purpose here during that period of time, because this is part of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that is definitely what I would call more of a spiritual dream. Definitely. Absolutely. That's definitely excellent example.
We gotta go to commercial break, and we got some other really great questions here in the chat room. I'm seeing here, like, what about dreams that tell you about the future, or can you out of body travel and see the future? Those are things that I've always wondered about too. Control to like kind of, I want to know the outcome of this, and travel there to see that. We talk about that when we get back, if that's a possibility.
Sure.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. We're going to go commercial break. Phone lines are still open. Sorry about the technical difficulties tonight. I don't know if it's my 4-year-old, the ghost of Tommy that Joyce has falling around. I don't know. And the phone lines, people are calling in. And why did it hang up? See, technical problems, man. Like I hit yes. Whoever just called, I hit yes, and it said missed call. I must hit try calling again. I will take your phone calls when we come back from this commercial break.
Intercepted transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown. Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
The international chart-topping Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest, the true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
Phantasm, the film that puts the fun in the funeral. And as for a fiendish story, it does have a burial plot. Come prepared to scream, because if this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead. Phantasm from AFCO Embassy Pictures. Rated R under 17, not admitted without parent.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
This fall, a new hard-hitting police drama is coming to Friday night. He was a well-to-do cop transferred to a troubled precinct downtown. His new partner is a space traveler with a passion for justice. It's Yuppie and the Alien.
Look, you might vaporize dissidents in Alpha Centauri, but in this precinct, we do it by the book.
I'm so terribly sorry, Captain.
Goog, I'm sorry. Don't miss this one-of-a-kind police drama. They're fighting crime the hard way, in designer clothes, with $250,000 sports car and a UFO.
Partner, let's go cruise in the car and look moody.
One tough downtown precinct, two outsiders doing things their way. Yuppie and the Alien on VBC.
If you are interested in discovering the truth about the paranormal and want to hear from leading researchers in the field, join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and
The night is alive. Join us and take a walk on the weird side when you tune in to the Kingdom of Nye, hosted by Heather Wade, the finest in late night talk. Listen live free weeknights starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time at thekingdomofnye.com, talkstreamlive.com, and the Paranormal Radio app. Wanna take a ride?
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Heat 'em up. Do, re, be gone.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, with technical problems and all, our guest is Marilynn Hughes, founder of the Out-of-Body Travel Foundation. Her book is Astral Projection Made Easy. She's written over 101 books. She's got plenty of free books and material on her website, outofbodytravel.org. Check it out. A lot of information. And I apologize to the audience for the technical problems tonight. I don't know what's going on. Mercury in retrograde. I don't know. They're all in retrograde, aren't they? The world didn't end. At least we got that. But you can call in. I had somebody call in and then I hit the thing and they hung up. The more technical problems. But you can call in at 219-230-4444 or Skype ID 00JBland00. Those are the two lines that are open because we had to put Marilynn on the other one because technical problems are a sue right now and we're just trying to get through it. But this has been such a great guest. We're going to have her back on without technical problems at some point because there's so much more we didn't even get to. We only got a half an hour show. So let's go ahead and get back to our guest. All right, you still there with me, Marilynn?
Oh, yes.
Sorry again for the problems tonight. Ugh.
Oh, no worries.
Even remember to play our good luck song before the show, Jamie, and we're still having technical problems. We play Frank Goes to Hollywood's Relax every before show just for good luck. Superstitious. I had somebody trying to call in. If you can call in. The lines are open. But my wife had a question when I was going upstairs. She's listening to the show. I thought was really interesting. This could be a possibility of maybe she was having astral or out of body experiences. When she was a kid, she lived in a house that was haunted, but she had experience where she'd wake up at night and she'd be like walking to the bathroom, but she would just keep walking and walking and walking and never getting to the bathroom. Like she's like walking on like a treadmill or something, like she's not getting there. And she eventually would just go back to bed. She's like 6 or 7. And she couldn't get to the bathroom. Like she would be walking and walking and walking and she couldn't get there. Is a possibility she was out of her body?
On that one, I don't know. That could be just
I've had that experience kind of similar to hers too. If I think about it, I've had dreams like that where you're like trying to go somewhere and you think you're awake, you're trying to go to, like for her, go to the bathroom, and it's like you're never getting to the door.
Right. That can be simply just a dream, but it can also be like if she's in a haunted house, it could be a spirit kind of playing around with her.
That's what she wondered too. Yeah, she did wonder.
Yeah.
So
because they can do that. Yeah. It's a violation of eternal law, but they can do that. And that's what you'd want to do is find out if that were a spirit, you'd want someone to come in and take care of that, because that's not something they're really allowed to continue doing. So you can call them out on that in terms of easily I have a book called Ghosts and Lost Souls, which talks about these types of things and how you handle them and what you do. It's in the Mystic Knowledge series. But you can call them out when they are, especially when they're messing with children. That's a real no-no for, in the spirit world with ghosts and stuff, but doing things to like be a trickster spirit, things like that, that's not okay. And so, when in my experiences, one of the things I do work with are ghosts and lost souls, and you would go in there and you would be able to help them to cross over and extricate them based on the fact that they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to keep doing it once someone's brought in to take it out. You know what I mean?
I've always wondered, there's things, there's so many questions I didn't get to because of technical problems. One of them is, but I always wondered if there's like a kind of like a afterlife police force. like that, like stops goes from doing things. Or we do live spirit box sessions on the show once in a while, and Rob and Jamie do it every Wednesday night on the Weird Wednesday show. And it's interesting with the communication we get through the spirit boxes, because it seems like something stops them from answering certain questions. And you mentioned that, when you see faces and that their souls wanting to pray, if we say, do you want us to pray for you, boy, the spirit box start really chiming in like that, that is what they want, so
Yes.
there does seem like there is something from the other side that is trying to reach us, or to get us to notice them or pray for them.
Well, yes, because this is ironically something that's very well documented in the Catholic tradition in terms of purgatory. Souls who are going through the purification process after death benefit a great deal from prayer. And so a lot of times that's what they're asking for. When you read my books, you can find out a lot of things that you can actually do to help them to cross over if they're lost or things like this. But if you don't know how to do anything else, you can start by praying for them, because that's going to give them a lot of assistance and relief just to start. And then, if you want to learn more, and you can help them in other ways as well. But like you said, is there a police force and stuff like this? Yes, all sorts of different orders, several things like the disaster crew. One of the things I wrote about, which is a group of spirits who show up whenever there's a mass disaster where many people are going to die, because there's going to be a lot of souls who are going to be lost and confused.
Right.
And so you have an entire crew that comes in to help with the crossing over of these souls. You have spirits and teachers. You have teachers, of all kinds of, which you can probably guess. You have teachers of all many different areas, because as a soul is learning, you will go from one subject, and as you master that, you're going to get another teacher who's going to take you into the next area, and it continues and continues and continues. There's no end to the knowledge to be attained. But there is also you have the angelic hierarchy, you have the archangels who deal with the heavy duty demonic, but you also do have spirits who work in kind of a law enforcement type capacity as well. Definitely when you're dealing with wandering spirits and lost souls, and just with spirits on the astral plane who often get into a lot of mischief. So yes, there are all manner of different orders. What we have,
basically.
Hierarchies, but yes, what we have to remember is what we have on Earth, everything we have is going to exist in the spirit world, but it's just going to exist in a greater degree, in a more sophisticated degree, and a more fantastic degree. And so, everything that we've created here on Earth has already been created elsewhere. That's part of the reason we have it here, because it was created elsewhere first. So everything that we have has its counterparts, so to speak.
Kind of like in the astral realm, like its energy is forethought of in the astral realm before it even exists.
Right.
Right.
Yes, that too.
I've
Yes,
heard that.
absolutely.
When you talk about the disaster thing, it makes me think, about like a crew that comes in or whatever. It reminds me of one of my favorite shows is Dead Like Me. I don't know if you ever saw that, but there'd be reapers and they would like take people out of their body right before the accident would happen. And I always loved that show because you hear stories of people near death saying, this accident happened, but I was suddenly popped out of my body and I watched myself. The accident happened to myself, like something came in and
I've
took them out.
definitely read a lot of experiences like that. I did not see that show, but it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it was one of those shows they
yeah,
canceled too soon after one season. Bastards.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard that with many experiences and wondered the same thing, that, people who got hit by a bus, would say that, they were out before the bus hit, and that's very fascinating to me as well,
We got somebody else on the line. See, all these technical problems. I felt like there's so much we didn't get to tonight. There's so much more to astral travel, but we got somebody else on the line here. I'm sure it's got a great question. 347 area code. Who do we got?
It's Dawn Emler. How you doing?
Hi, Don. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Rob. Hey, Marilyn. Thanks for taking my call.
Hi. Sure.
Hi. I was just wondering. I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown of what I've been through, real quick, because there's not much time left.
Yeah.
And just to lead up to my question. When I was younger, I seen a lot of ghosts and spirits. When I was 4 to 12, then ended. And then, of course, when I was 17, I dabbled with the Ouija board. And a few days later, I ended up having sleep paralysis, which led to OBEs and, bad things coming around me at night. And which really messed with me mentally. I was getting attacked and I couldn't sleep. It affected my school. And I didn't really tell my parents. I didn't know what was going on. And years later, I went to the library, got some books, then I became interested in it more with astral projection, OBEs. And I started teaching myself how to do this. So I would take the step by step. I think there was 4 steps at the time I said in the book. Meditation, relax, look at your hands first. You can't see through your eyes, learn to fly, all this stuff. And it was nice in the beginning. Then it started getting evil again as I got older. I started, having these evil spirits coming around and just hurting me. And it was very scary at the time. But then it calmed down again, and then I would teach myself how to fly, from point A to point B. And at one point, I couldn't go above the trees. And then when I got older, I was able to go even further, try to go into space. But then Jesus came and stopped me. He said, "You couldn't do this, son. You're not allowed to do this." So I don't know if he was talking about the OBEs or if I just couldn't go past a certain astral plane into space. And another very interesting experience I had, I was in a completely different realm, and I said, "This is home." There was all these huts around with all these weird symbols on top, triangles, circles, everything. And Jesus was with me again, and he pulled me back straight into my body. I just woke up. So I had a lot of weird experiences, mostly negative. And the question is, why should I continue to do this? And I would like to, but why would I continue to do this if I know when this does happen to me, I know evil is always around because I've got to fight something off before I go on my journey.
Well, I just want to point out, you talked about the symbols, the triangles and the circles, and Jesus was there, and you said this was home. Those are the matrices, and the matrices appear before you get to the entrance to heaven. And so I think you were right there at the entrance to heaven, and you had an interior knowing that you were home. Yeah, it's really cool. So that's really cool that you got to go there. As to your question, the answer would be that the negative experiences are part of the out-of-body travel journey for most folks because of the fact.
Yeah.
And so it's often very helpful for people to go through the process with some guidance. And that's what I try to do with my writing, that helps people to navigate through the learning about the evil, learning about the spiritual warfare. The very fact that you started seeing
by myself. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And it's a little bit easier when you have a little bit of it laid out for you. So you understand, like, okay, this is happening because I'm in this stage, and this is to be expected, and this is normal.
Yeah.
I think that the question of whether you should continue it or not is totally up to you, because if you are experiencing...
the last time I had my last one, which was kind of, the one before that, my dad had passed away, and then there was evil around me, and I called for him, and he actually came, and he didn't have nice words for me. I felt him, I didn't see him. He just said, "Enough of this crap already." And then, he kind of helped me, and I woke up. But the last one I had was sleep paralysis, and the ringing in my ear, the whole bedroom just woke me up. The whole bedroom was loud, like a car alarm, 100 times, just going off. I said to my husband the next day, I think I have to go to the doctors if this happens again. So he's like, all right, if it happens again, we'll take you to the doctors. Never happened again. And then I learned a little bit more about, the alien type aspect to all of this with the out-of-body experience and other, realms. So can that be possible too, that maybe other beings are around when this happens?
That can be, but it sounds more like what you're experiencing is the actual, the actual grand phases of the soul, which starts with, the process that starts is you go through where you experience some of the good stuff. Then you start learning about some of the gray areas, and then you are plunged into the spiritual warfares. The very fact that when you were a child, you were seeing ghosts from the age of 4 to 12 indicates that you had a natural gift. And it also might indicate that that was something that was maybe something that you were going to work with lost souls and that sort of thing. And that is not a pleasant task. I do it too. And I struggled with it. I actually got upset and said, I don't want to do this anymore. And then they took me to the Akashic Records and showed me that I signed up for it. And I was like, okay, I guess I am going to keep doing it. Funny. But, so one of the things you might consider doing is, pick up, you can pick it up or download the Mysteries of the Redemption and start reading through some of that and see if it puts any of that see if it puts any of that process that you've experienced into perspective. If you start seeing a process, a journey, a map here of what you've been through, and if you feel like you can put it in context, and if you feel like it makes more sense to you now, if it doesn't, if it's like, no, I'm just a demon magnet, you know what I mean? Then it's like, no, don't bother.
With the Ouija board. I mean, after a while, you learn of it, and I was getting attacked almost every night, and it was ridiculous. I cried, "Mommy!" My back would be like a foot above my bed at one point. We had remote controls fly across my room during the day. I had sleep paralysis during the day as well. So it lasted 4 minutes, which was odd because I know it takes 20 minutes to fall asleep.
Well, the Ouija board
so that was an
have
odd thing. And it's just if I get it back into this, just by talking about it, I feel like it'll happen. But I'm just afraid that kind of demon type spirit will come back and will maybe prevent me from what I'm maybe supposed to do, because if this is part of my life, I keep talking about it and I hear other people wanting to do it. And I'm like, well, they don't really know what they might be getting themselves into. That's what kind of scares me. I mean, everyone's experience is different because we all have spiritual journeys.
Hold on, Don. Marilyn wants to answer here before we run out of time.
The negative
so Don,
part of it.
Right, there is a negative part of it. You didn't mention the Ouija board part of it earlier, and I do think that has a huge, that's important information, because that might be why you're experiencing it this way. A lot of people will experience periods of time where there's a lot of spiritual warfare. They do go through a lot of demonic activity, but if it is done in a controlled, I understand that. Yeah. If you follow through the mystical training in a controlled way, then you should be able to see knowledge and wisdom coming through all of it. If that's not what's happening, then you're just dealing with demonic attack, and I wouldn't recommend that you continue. I would say no, because you've invited something in that you
Jesus, and he shows up. So that kind of helped.
That was the right thing to do, because that's what you definitely learn very quickly in out-of-body experiences, is that when you need help, that's who you call for. And
I didn't know that as a child, so that would have helped back then too. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you answering all my questions and talking with me. I know we're running out of time.
Sure.
Thank you, Jason, Rob, and Jamie. You guys have a great night. Happy Father's Day, Jason.
Thank you.
And whoever else is having a great Father's Day.
Well, thank you for calling in. It was a great call. You have a good night.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
You too. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Well, like she said, a lot of people try this on their own. They don't have a teacher, or they don't have, you may not even read a book, or they might have read a little bit of a book, or they might have read a whole book that led them the wrong way.
I think if she tried with the Mysteries of the Redemption, it would be very helpful to give her the opportunity to see if her experiences could be held within the context of the typical journey, or if she is just being attacked because she invited this in. And those are two very different scenarios. And it would also give her some guidance as well as to how to uninvite and get this out, because she doesn't want to carry it with her anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
She wants to get that out of her life. If there was an invitation, you want to rescind that invitation immediately. And so there's a lot of stuff on my website, including there's a book called Spiritual Warfare, Angels and Demons in the Mystic Knowledge series that she might also want to take a look at, that will give her a lot of guidance about how to get this out of her life. There's also some prayer books and devotionals. There's the Mysteries of the Redemption prayer book and the devotional there. And those are things that would really be a helpful. If she's got something that's been invited in, you've got to do something to make sure it's no longer got dominion in your life. It's important, really important.
There's so many factors, that could, affect a person in this level when they start going down this path of inner discovery and, meditation, right. And because just the past life factor, the things you could hold on karmically that
right.
You're going to start opening up when you do this. It's powerful stuff.
Right, exactly. And that's part of the reason why it's so crucial that this is formulated under the cultivation pathway. Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that you have to be cultivating your spirit, your soul, while you are doing this. And this is where we go back to the beginning, which is understand the purpose of it. The purpose of this is purification of the soul. One of the reasons these things happen is because people play around with things.
Right.
And so that is something that I cannot stress more clearly to people, is that can cause serious problems. A lot of the cases where you actually have possessions, where exorcisms are required, are caused by things like Ouija boards, and things like this, calling in spirits, calling in things half-heartedly, even when people don't realize it. Like, for instance, I've seen cases where people are atheists, so they don't think that if they make some, almost joking,
right, I've seen this,
a rhetorical thing, if I'm going to call up a demon, ha ha, and it's like they don't realize that it can ruin their life. You know what I mean?
Well, I take it from my personal experience, because I challenged that thing, whatever it was, out on those tracks.
Yeah.
And it followed me home, and I knew instantly I'd messed up.
Yes.
So yes, there are things out there that there's good, there's evil. It's just like this reality. I believe there's both. I've run into people. A lady I loved that ran a new age shop, the only one we had in the town at the time, and she would not recognize or talk about anything negative or dark, and I couldn't talk to her about my experiences. And I'm like, that's just, I understand you're all peace and love, but you got to realize there are dangers, there are things out there, that are negative,
right.
So
right.
Yeah.
And that it's a very important part of the spiritual journey. It's a very important part of out-of-body experiences, because you cannot have out-of-body experiences without learning to actually apply discernment and these processes, because it is through learning proper discernment that you can actually protect yourself and avoid some of these very difficult types of experiences. And it's really important, and it's very well laid out for people in the Mysteries of the Redemption, and there's other books there too on those subjects that will help people to learn how this discernment is actually cultivated within. And it's just so important. Very, very important.
For a person who does start to experience out of body or traveling to the astral realm, because we're almost at the end of the show, what are some of the signs or what are some of the things that will change in them that they'll start to notice?
Well, you're going to experience things. A lot of things will change. Everything will change. If you do it right, everything's going to change. And, but you're going to become more aware generally. So you're going to develop gifts to sense things in a lot of different ways. So it's going to become, it won't just end up being out of body experiences. You'll be able to feel things more. You'll have more empathy, more compassion. These things will naturally be generated within you. The things that are going to change big time are, if you are following the path according to its actual purpose, your ego is going to be shattered and you're going to become a very humble human being, because you're going to be literally, a good way to explain this is people who have near-death experiences talk about the life review.
Right.
In out-of-body experiences, we go through these things as well. We're shown things about ourselves. We experience them energetically. We're given the opportunities to understand how we make other people feel. So we have an energetic understanding given to us, which actually allows us to transform in a much quicker, more accelerated way. So if you're really practicing out-of-body travel for the right reasons, you should start seeing your life move towards a more loving, a more desire to serve, more of a desire to know God and to understand his holy will and to reach that holiness. This is something that people in today's world are very uncomfortable with. God is an all-holy being. And in order for us to progress, we have to get to know him as who he is. And that is an all-holy, omnipotent essence. And we have to become that which we seek. So we have to actually go through the processes which require us to remove these fetters, these cravings, these things that are holding us to the ground. And ironically, even talking about what Dawn's going through, we are creating the dominions in our lives by our thoughts, our words, our deeds. A single thought of greed can give permission for the demons that generate greed to be around us, just as a single thought of any type of virtue can do the same for the angels of virtue. So we start learning that we are creating this dominion around us. And so if we want to move towards an all-holy God, we have to become more like him. We have to understand him. We have to know him more. How do you get to know somebody? You get to know their friends. And that's the prophets, saints, mystics, sages, and ascetics of all the world religions. And their last words were left behind in the ancient sacred texts. Those are the keys.
There's so much we didn't get to, and then the technical problems. I'm so sorry, because it definitely slowed down than what we got to talk to, because there's so much I wanted to talk to you about.
No worries.
So
no worries.
I want to get you back on the show again, Marilynn, for sure. If you're up for it, we got to do this again, because I can think of like 10 things I didn't even get to that I wanted to talk to you about, especially when it comes to astral travel.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Well,
yes.
I want to make sure everybody gets your information. So website, outofbodytravel.org. Where you have a ton of free material for people. I think that's amazing. And then your book, Out of Body Travel, Astral Projection Made Easy. Since we didn't get to a lot of the steps tonight because of my technical problems, go check out her book. It'll help you.
Yep, you can download them all for free, and you can email me. If you got any questions, pop me an email.
What's your email? give that out. I didn't have
Marilynn Hughes at outofbodytravel.org, and it is at the website as well. So don't worry about it. You'll find it right there.
All right. Well, thank you, Marilynn. It was a true pleasure to have you on the show. We got to do it
Thank
again.
you.
I will
Yes.
send you the next open date I got because I really want to get you back on because there's so much we didn't get to. All right. Thank you, Marilynn.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Have a great night. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. The world didn't end. We're still here, right? We'll be back next Sunday with our another really interesting guest, the new guest, Lisa O'Hara. She's the author of Abducted and Furious: How to Fight Back and How I Fought Back and How You Can Too. She was abducted and she fought him off. We're going to talk to her. I can't wait to have her on. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Central, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube or follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and thank you to everyone who shares the show out. That's the biggest help. But if you want to help out financially, we do have a Patreon. $2 a month does help pay the bills. Go check it out. Look up Paranormal Soup, and your $2 a month helps pay the bills for the show. So thanks to everybody who is a Patreon, and again, thanks to everybody who shares the show. All right, guys, see you next Sunday. Have a great night.
Thank you.